What's going on, people? Mitch here. Welcome back to Growing Up Gaming, your monthly podcast where we meet a new person from the internet to discuss their childhood with gaming and how it inspired them today. I want to thank everybody who's been so supportive of the show by not only watching the show and rating it on their favorite platform, but also sharing the show with their friends and communities and recommending guests. I greatly appreciate it. This week on the show, we have our guest. Her name is Bowsah. I met her through Carpool Gaming when I got asked by Sean Capri to join the Xbox Drive. I had no clue it would be four of us hosting the show, and I'm very happy he asked Bowsah to join because she brings some awesome perspectives on gaming as well as plays a ton of games. We get into how her mom did something unexpected with her PS2, how a launch console of hers was broken right out of the box, and all the time she had fun playing with her big brother. If anyone out there wants to be on the show, be sure to send me a tweet at GUG Podcast, reach out to me on Discord, live on stream at twitch.tv/MitchPower1116, or leave a comment on the YouTube video below. I'd love to hear more and more stories. Also, as always, don't forget to like the video on YouTube, subscribe to the show on your platform of choice to catch all the new episodes each and every month, and share the show with a buddy to get more and more potential guests to have on and stories to hear. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it. Now let's have a chat with Bowsah. Do you remember what got you started playing games? Do you remember, was it a family member? Was it a friend? Were your parents like, here's this awesome game console, enjoy yourself? Like, what got you started playing games?
Yeah, it was my brother. He's like 3 years older than me. So he had the Atari 2600.
Nice.
So we're talking like playing Pitfall, Space Invaders, of course, the wonderful E.T.
Did you actually play E.T.?
I mean, I turned it on and moved around a bit and couldn't figure it out and turn it back off, but we owned it.
That's a good question. If you actually think about it, did anybody ever play E.T.? Or they would just stumble through it and try to figure it out?
Can you imagine being like the one kid that got the Atari and E.T. and that was it for Christmas?
Sounds like a sad Christmas. That sounds just fucking depressing. Like, that would be
back
awful.
in the day, you didn't get like 10 games for Christmas. You got one.
Right. You're right. And then like and then it was the birthdays and the Christmases after that where you got the other games and stuff like that. So yeah, no, I couldn't. Oh my God. E.T. being your first, that would be so fucking sad. Especially if somebody else had something like Pitfall or something awesome, right? Oh my God. So brother's playing, he's 3 years older than you. Was he super into video games? Was that like his main kind of hobby, or was that just kind of something he was like one Christmas he was interested in?
Yeah, I guess he was interested in it for quite a while because like our first several consoles and home computer and stuff were his idea. Like that's what he wanted, his gift.
Right.
Now it might have ended up being like a family gift, but it started out that he wanted the Atari, he wanted a PC, like all this stuff was his idea. So, and now it's funny, like he doesn't play video games at all.
And now you're the exact opposite, where if you look behind you, like, look at all the video game shit you have.
And his son, my nephew, now calls me to play games.
That's awesome. So I want to say it's funny because some people get like super into games, obviously, right? And then they eventually die out. Some people, like, I mean, there was a period where I didn't play any video games. I didn't give a shit about video games at all. And thankfully, my brother-in-law got me back into it. So thanks, brother-in-law. But no, it's like also, by the way, that's a bullshit ass thing. The family gift, right?
Yeah,
that's bullshit. If it was expensive, the parents were just like, "How can we just say something to make us not have to pay for more?" Yeah. I got it. Family gift. There we go. So he got, he's the one. He got the Atari. He obviously, was he hesitant to, like, let me rephrase, was he cool with you, like, hey, come play games with me? Or was he that dickhead big brother that was like, ew, go away, video games are for boys, you go play with your Barbies? Or was he like cool with you playing games and everything?
No, I think he was cool with me playing. Like, we live in a pretty rural area, so there's not like a bunch of other kids to invite over and play with. So either we played together or he got in trouble for not letting me play, probably.
I was going to say that parents also force that shit, right? Parents are
or he could have given me a controller that wasn't connected,
Yo, 5-head strategy. Any parents out there listening, you want your kids come up and like, I want to play. Cool thing is wireless controllers. You don't even have to fake the cord. Just give them that shit. Make sure it's dead. Yep. Make sure that I always had a spare PS3 controller that was dead for my kids. It was purposefully like, go grab the red one. That's your guys' controller. I just never charged it. Ever. It was just constantly dead. So that also works. Also, that's a part of like growing up in a rural area that sucks. Like, especially when you're a kid. Like, when you're a kid,
Yep.
because, like, I had family that lived in West Virginia, and they lived in an area where it's like, there was a couple houses around each other, but, like, there was just trees
But
all
yeah,
surrounding them. Like, there was nothing around them for them to, like, go to a park where there's a bunch of other kids or go to this, or, like, they were basically just stuck in their house all the time. So, like, video games were actually super important to keep them busy.
yeah, and the worst of it is like there were other kids, they just weren't the right ages, right? You,
Right.
my brother, the only one that was close in age to him was another girl, and she was very much not into this kind of stuff. She was like a mature girl
Oh, yeah.
and, into makeup way early and doing all that stuff. And he's like, I want to go play in the dirt.
He was still in his dirt playing phase, and she's like, I want to be
Yeah.
proper and pretty and makeup, and
Yeah.
I don't want to be dirty. And he's like, you want to go play in the mud? No.
Yeah. So they didn't hang out as much. Now, there were other kids closer to my age,
Oh, okay.
but I will have to say, though, growing up, we were more outside kids. Like, that was our primary thing, especially during the summer. Like, we were outside, I don't know, building tree forts and doing God knows what. But if it was raining, then we'd be inside playing games.
Oh, for sure. I think also too, and it kind of, it's not, I won't say it sucks, but it's just a situation of the times as well, right? Like, if we had the internet, would we go outside
Yeah.
though? Like, like there's certain kids. I mean, the cool thing is I still see kids in my neighborhood, although it's the opposite, right? Kids in Arizona hang out in the wintertime outdoors, and in the summertime they're indoors just playing games all day because the sun's trying to kill them for 6 months. You know what I mean? But it's weird that, like, we had to leave the house to go play with our buddies, go to Gary's house, go to Jared's house to go play games with them. But, like, now kids really don't even have to leave the house to do stuff. Again, though, depending on your hobbies, right? I mean, also video games
Right.
weren't as awesome back then. Like, not saying they're not cool. There's plenty of games that are awesome, but, like, if you had ET, you're going outside. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Like, if I had
probably.
ET, my ass is going outside. I'd rather go play with sticks and dirt and shit and be like, this is way more fun than ET. I don't even know what the fuck is going on in this game.
Take my little ET doll outside and go ride my bike.
Right. Put actual ET in the front of your bike and go have fun. No, like,
Yep.
yeah, there was definitely, and also, like I said, depending on your environment, like, if you grew up, like, kids, and again, back in my day, like, we used to do, like, yeah, we would go to, like, this wooded area by the house and just find a tree that was cool and hang out and, like, play basketball and be shithead kids, doing terrible things. Like, those are things that I remember doing. But like I said, now, like, I'm not saying there aren't asshole kids, because I see them constantly when I pick up my daughter from school. I'm like, that kid's a piece of shit. He's really mean right now to that other kid. But yeah, like, it's just, I don't know. Like, obviously the outdoors, were your parents encouraging you to, like, get the hell out of the house and, like, go do something else?
Yeah. They
Pretty
were all
much.
about us being outside. They'd rather, like, get on your bicycle and go ride somewhere for 8 hours and come back for dinner.
And you better come back for dinner, because if you don't, yeah, that's
Yep.
a bad day. That's a bad
Yep.
day. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was also, I felt like, more freedoms. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say, like, I don't, it sounds so bad, but it's just like every parent now is just like, I couldn't imagine my kid just, like, getting on his bike and fucking leaving for hours. And
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Yep.
Like, imagining Addie's like, I'm gonna go leave the house for 6 hours. You're not gonna know exactly where I'm at. Bye. Like, my mind mentally, I'm like, I can't do that shit. But yeah, my parents
Yep.
were basically just like, as long as your ass is home for dinner, I don't give a shit what you're doing out there. Right? Who cares?
Yep.
Just go have fun.
Mhm.
But no, like, video games, like I said, those rainy days, that was definitely where video games helped. So the kids that were, like, your age, were they also into video games as well? Like, or were they into completely other things that were just
No.
no?
Just
Damn.
probably my closest friend growing up, he was very much just outdoors.
Got it.
The other family that lived next door to him, they were like raising an entire baseball team. They the mother used to joke, she's like, I'm gonna keep having kids till I have a girl or a baseball team.
That
She
seems.
stopped she stopped after 4 boys.
I imagine. Yeah. 4 boys. The boys, like, yeah, and, like, I was the only boy. I had 2 sisters, and then Alex, my son, he has 3 sisters, so I feel bad for him. But, like, Yeah, like when I see, it's weird when I see brothers together because they're just chaos. They're
Yes.
just, they're just so crazy together. And I'm like, I'm so glad I had one boy and then girls. Like, I feel bad that my son and I don't have a brother because I would have loved to have a brother. That would have been fucking awesome. But at the same
Yeah.
time, like my buddy Al, I see his kids, he has 3 boys. And I went and visited him and I was just like, these boys have
Like
a lot of
everything in the
energy.
house is broken because
Oh,
they just
yeah.
throw each other around
Yeah,
nonstop.
100%. I would just hear like WrestleMania 47 upstairs while he's playing games and shit. And he's just like,
Yeah.
what is going on upstairs? And they're just like jumping off the bed onto each other and shit. I'm like, yeah, I'm
Taking somebody
glad.
to the ER every week.
Yeah, exactly. He also got really
Yeah.
sad when we went out to, he came to town and I took my family out to dinner at Portillo's, which is a fantastic establishment. Go there, eat it. It's delicious. And it cost me like $90. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. He's like, you spent $90 here? I'm like, yeah. He's like, on your family and who else? I'm like, no, just my family. And he's like, I'm gonna be so broke when these kids get bigger like yours. I'm like, yeah, because my kids don't have kids meals anymore. I have like teenager, almost adult children, so I have to buy like normal fucking meals for these kids. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, my kids already eat the hell out of the whole house. I'm gonna be so broke. I'm like, yeah, dude, sorry, man. Sucks. So Atari happened, and then did you say PC was next?
Yeah, like DOS computer.
Holy shit.
So I got a whole stack of 5.25-inch floppies back there that my dad pirated back in the 80s.
Allegedly.
We have like one disc in the entire box that's like an original label. And I think it's like a typing tutorial thing.
100%.
All the rest of them he copied from people he worked with.
Allegedly. We're not getting anybody in trouble. Allegedly.
He's since deceased, so
Okay,
go
got
ahead.
it.
Go after him, whatever. I don't care.
Go after his estate for something.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
those
there's nothing
companies
left, it's fine.
all those companies that he stole from are completely under, by the way. They have no money.
Yeah, like Sierra.
Yeah, exactly. Those companies are like long fucking bankrupt. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
It's fine.
It's
So
fine.
like imagine like 5-year-old me playing Tapper, serving beers to everyone, watching
Yeah.
the girly show.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's my early childhood. Frogger getting run over by cars.
Yeah.
I remember playing.
People bitch about games being violent, but there was, frogs and shit getting run over, man, and
Yeah.
the girly shows at Tapper. I'm just saying.
Hey, your parents can tell you as many times as they want to look both ways before you cross the street. But until you get splatted as a frog 1,000 times, it just doesn't really sink in.
That's true.
You know?
That's true. You just need to die a bunch in Frogger or get hit once in real life, and shit
Yeah,
changes.
probably. That probably helps.
Shit changes real fast, right? When it's just a little tap. No, like, so that's the one thing I will say. Like, I never, and that's the one that some people talk about PC experience. I never had PC. Never had like a,
Yeah.
let me rephrase that. Had a PC, didn't really have a PC in the house until like internet days. And this
Yeah.
is dial-up internet days. But like, I never had a computer that was like for gaming. I remember my buddy Brandon we played Doom on his computer, and that was like the only experience I had playing games
Yeah.
at all. So yeah, it's kind of nuts that some people, like I said, they have a whole plethora of games that I never touch. And also too, like, you can still, I guess, technically with PC you can play fucking anything you want. Like, you really can. Like, emulation is
Yeah.
great. Legal
Legally.
emulation. I don't know if that's
You know, all
thing,
those
but-
discs that I have back there, I emulate them now. It's fine.
They're nice. That's awesome.
I legitimately bought
Yep.
old
If anybody
PC
comes at you, you
games.
just pull out that disc and go, it doesn't have a label, but
The
I got a
original label
copy.
fell off.
Yeah.
I had
label
to
wore
handwrite
off.
this one.
Exactly. The label just fell off.
Which is
We're
true
fine.
though, because they are like just stickers on the discs. Like that's how they marked them back then. So
Right. Exactly. No, like
that's
I said,
definitely what happened.
it's 100% what happened. Yeah, the label's just disintegrated. You ever see like old paper sometimes, just like you pick it up and it like turns into Thanos dust? It's just like, I'm like, okay, I guess this wasn't meant to be handled, I guess. Like, holy shit.
Yep.
Guess we're not.
Well, the other use for our PC back then was for like printing banners. So it was like dot matrix printer with like the wheels that fed it through, and you had to like rip off the edges, but you could print a banner 30 feet long if you wanted.
That is the funniest shit, by the way. Like to think about that. Like those dot matrix printers, we had those at the video game store I worked at. And I remember they had the little like holes on the side. You had to like
Yep.
feed the paper in. Holy shit. And you're right though, because like you could use I remember Microsoft at the time at least. You can use Microsoft to like print up this happy birthday banner if you want to. This giant fucking banner on this type of paper. I remember that. Like, oh, dot matrix. And then there's
And it was already connected. You don't have to tape anything. It was so great.
Exactly. And you could use different fonts, make the shit cool looking. And it was the loudest printer on God's green earth. Those things were just like, good Lord. Just so terrible. So
And now think of it like I have a 3D printer downstairs that barely makes a sound, and it's building a physical object.
it's the craziest technology. Isn't that great? Dude,
Yep.
Oh my God. That's so wild to think about. Is like, especially obviously what video game technology has gotten significantly better, and it's getting better and better by the day. But like, yeah, other technology. I mean, like I said, that's why like I try to think about things like if I had the internet when I was growing up, I probably wouldn't have left the house much, dude. Like, I mean, there wasn't really a need to, right? Like that, if you wanted to play NBA Jam with your friends, you had to go to their house. You had to play Mortal
Yes.
Kombat. You had to leave and fucking see people. And now people could do that from the comfort of their home, which I've
We still don't
tried.
do it enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Well,
the thing
you do.
now. Yeah, like I mean, for the one thing it kind of sucks, but like my father-in-law has mentioned, my son needs to get out and like see his friends. I'm like, well, technically, he's like hanging out with his friends, but they're just doing it virtually. But still, you need to like see people so you don't turn into a fucking weirdo. You know what I'm saying? See
Yeah.
so you don't just turn into somebody who like can't talk at all in public, because those are like I've seen some people like that and it sucks. I feel bad. I'm like, unfortunately, I
Yeah.
was never like that. I can talk to anybody about anything, anywhere. I have no problems talking to you at all. I'll find some common thing. Unless you start talking about some weird shit, and then I'm like, all right, dude, I ain't talking to you no more. Like,
Gotta go.
yeah, oh no, like my look at your phone real fast. I don't know, somebody's fucking calling me by. Like, I'll make some exit. But yeah, like I think obviously the social interaction part of it, being like hanging out with people was always the I still think about times of like example Extra Life where everybody gathers and hangs out. I'm sure that's a blast. I'm sure
Yeah.
that's awesome. I'm sure that's fun. I haven't done it yet, Sean. I don't know when I'm gonna do it yet, Sean. I'm not committed this year still. Don't ask me, Sean. But it's like the
We'll just
interactions.
give you the worst FOMO ever.
Yeah, do
You
it.
see all of us together.
Exactly. I'm gonna see everybody together and I'm gonna be like, yeah, I suck. I should have gone.
Yep.
It's okay. Sean tries to do it, but
Yeah.
this year's a little different, right? This year's a little different because I know more people and I see you guys more and I talk to you guys on like almost
Yeah.
a weekly basis. It seems like it's weird, right?
Yeah, the first year I went was a little awkward for me. I'm a little more introverted and quiet in real life, and I wasn't like fully ingrained in the carpool community.
Right.
But that summer people were talking about it, I was like, this sounds cool. Like I want to go play video games with people.
Right.
So I kind of like tried to really insert myself into the community so that I
Nice.
would know some people, but still it was kind of like, I don't know a lot.
It's so funny because you say that. Meanwhile, I could kick the fucking door into that building and be like, "What's up?" Just
Yeah.
talk to somebody about
Exactly.
something. I'm
Yeah.
like the exact opposite. I can walk in there and be like, "Who's playing what? Let's go." Like I don't know. That's just my personality. I've always
Yeah, that was
been
my
that.
husband. Like he
Oh yeah.
wasn't in Discord or in the community at all. Like he didn't know anybody ahead of time.
Mhm.
And he just walked in and started talking to people and
Yeah.
who
Some
are
people.
you? And all this.
Exactly.
Like,
That's a cool. Like I said, that's a nice. Especially in those social interactions, that's a good thing to have. Because like,
Yep.
example, my boss, who's very much not weirdest thing in the world, says he's not a social butterfly. His number one hobby: concerts, baseball games, sporting events. Okay.
well, you could go to those and just not talk to people.
I guess so. I guess so. Like I guess that's the thing. But like when we go to like our work parties, our like holiday work parties or whatever, he's very much like just kind of stays in his lane. Meanwhile, I'm booking at every table, talking to everybody, like, "What's up? How you doing?" Like all that shit. So I mean, some people like that, but that's a good thing. Like I said, if you do have like a more introverted personality, obviously video games can be helpful when it comes to one, keeping yourself occupied, but also two, slowly transitioning into talking more, especially nowadays. I think like back in the day, games you could just play by yourself, and I mean, there was majority of games
Yep.
were, a lot of the games were single player because it wasn't like the online internet aspect of it was even a thought at that time, right? So you could play more games. You could escape into like your own characters, especially with RPGs and stuff like that. You could really craft your own story. But then later down the road, internet happens, social networking happens, and more people are becoming, talkative and talking. And also, too, I think it's cool is sharing more experiences. Like you might have a ton of people around you, but they might not be into the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
And now you're finding people that are like, no, 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 I'm into that super duper obscure RPG on the N64. Like,
Yeah.
cool, dude. Let's talk about it because I didn't find anybody within 1,000 miles of me that does know about it. So
Yeah, that's the thing. Like growing up, we always had video game systems, but I really only played with my brother. Like
yeah,
my friends at school weren't into that. The neighbors weren't into that. So
that's so
he was my
craziest
multiplayer.
thing. That's awesome. I mean, like I said, at least, and the cool thing is, at least, like I said, at least your brother was cool enough to allow you to play, right? He could have
Yeah.
been like, go to hell. I'm doing
I
this.
mean, he might not have had a choice. That's
Again,
possible.
we don't know these things. These are next time you have a chat with your brother. Hey, I have a question. Did mom and dad make you play games with me, or did you actually enjoy it?
Probably.
Yeah, you should say yeah, probably.
Or he was just like bored, didn't have anybody else to play with either. So
That's true. That's also very true. So you guys went from Atari, PC, and then I'm assuming NES, like everybody else.
Yeah.
Mother? Yeah.
yeah, we got the NES. I think it was triple pack with Super Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, and World Class Track Meet. So we had the power pad.
Oh my God, the
Some
power
good memories on
pad.
that, like getting hopped up on some sugary beverage, and then you had like the big old console TVs
Mm-hmm.
that like weighed 8,000 pounds.
Yes.
Holding on to the edge of that, and then tippy toeing on the power pad to run real fast.
Holding on to the edge of the TV. Yeah, because it wasn't going to move at all.
No.
Like, I
No.
think it's not going anywhere, right?
It'd be, yeah, you could blow up the entire house and the TV would still be sitting there.
Those things were nuts. Those things were, I remember like the giant console TVs that literally had like, it was like a piece of furniture. It wasn't a
Yep.
TV. It was like TV / stand.
Entertainment center.
Yeah. It was just like all built
all
into
this wood on it, and back when they like made things out of actual wood too, like it wasn't particle board.
Correct.
It's like solid wood built around this TV screen.
Right, exactly. It was completely nuts, like how big those things were and everything. I remember my grandma getting like the first projection TV. Like it was a
Yeah.
big screen and it was a projection, and I was like, oh my God, look how big the
And
TV
those were
is.
so light comparatively.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, by the way, they were still massive and still
Yeah.
not very
They were a
light.
pain to move, but
Right. But those
two people could easily move that.
Oh yeah, a tube TV. If you had a tube TV and like a console TV like that with like the wood and stuff, God forbid, you need like a crane. Yeah, like I don't even know how did you how do you get those things home? I think you would need
I
like
don't know.
it's like a delivery, like a washer and dryer, I would assume. Like somebody had to bring it in with a dolly. Like there's
Four
no
strong
fun-
dudes and a dolly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So what games were you and your brother playing on like NES? Like obviously I'm assuming Mario Brothers, you said track and field with the power pad. What other games were you guys playing at that time?
Yep. Duck Hunt was a big one. Excite Bike. I love me some Excite Bike.
Excite Bike's so awesome.
One of my favorites was Micro Machines, because I used to have like all the little Micro Machines cars.
Mm-hmm.
So I loved that game. I played it maybe a couple years ago. Tossed that up on the emulator and played some Micro Machines.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Like now, I never played Micro Machines. Was that essentially similar to like just was it like one big picture track and you were just going like hitting the buttons to go around the track, or like what was the game?
You couldn't see the whole track at once, but
Oh, okay. I'm trying to
yeah,
remember
and
what
it
game
was like, and but it stayed like the same perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So like you going down the screen, and you have to remember like if you turn right, you're actually gonna go left on the screen.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like I remember,
And it's like
there was one game that had like the track on the whole picture was the track, and then you had like a car that was going along the track. I just don't remember what game that was.
Yeah. The Micro Machines was like you're driving on a desk because it's supposed to be those little cars.
Nice.
So it's like, oh no, somebody spilled their ink here. So if you drive through it and spin out, you know.
Of course
Yeah.
you do. That's hilarious.
Yep.
The one every time I think of Micro Machines, though, I just think of Home Alone with
Yeah.
like, that's all I think about. Every time I think of Micro Machines, it's like Home Alone, because Kevin was a dick to those robbers who were just trying to say hi to
To
him.
be fair,
I mean, I always love movies that change the perspective. Like, I always love it. Like, do you ever see the whole like series where they talked about how uh the Karate Kid was actually like Danny was the actual villain of the movie and the Cobra Kai was
no.
it's amazing. Like, go watch, somebody did a whole breakdown of like the actual main actor of Karate Kid being the villain and how he was a dick and how he ruined all these. It's weird because when they spin it and they start explaining things, you're like, oh man, that's actually kind of true.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't like that. And then that's why I think, like, I don't know if Cobra Kai got greenlit because of that shit, but I'm with it because Cobra Kai is awesome as a kid who loves the Karate Kid movies from the 80s. Not the one with Hilary Swank. That one was weird. The one with Jalen Smith isn't terrible. Go watch that one. But go watch the original Karate Kid movies. Those are good too. There's also a Karate Kid game. I never played it though. Never had a chance to play it.
No, I don't think I played that one.
I have to assume, and this sounds terrible, I just have to assume most of those were just like Kung Fu. Just walk, kick, punch, walk. Like, that's how I assume all karate style games were, just like Kung Fu basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another game on NES that I have a lot of fond memories playing is Contra. And I know this is one that we played multiplayer. Because I can distinctly remember on like the levels where you're moving vertically.
Yep.
If you're caught at the bottom and the other player jumps too far, you die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely.
I would be the one just jumping nonstop in fear because I didn't want to get hit by the bullets, and my brother's down below like trying to actually shoot the enemies and get the power ups and do all the things you should do. Now
meanwhile, you're like, got a blast, just fucking out of here, just.
I'm scared. They're shooting me. I'll just keep jumping. It's fine.
That is awesome. I'm sure that was a fun conversation where your brother was like, "What the hell? Like, what are you doing?"
Yeah. Thank goodness for Konami code.
So here's the question then. How did the Konami code, how did that be? I mean, Nintendo Power had to have, right?
It had to be that, yeah.
It had to be that because obviously there was no internet back then. But I'm just in there thinking of like how, like, cheat codes were obviously a thing back then, which is nuts, right? And like I think about it, and it's like cheat codes were still a thing. I want to say they're still a thing now, maybe. Maybe there's some like game.
Yeah, I think the Konami code worked in what's it called? Arcade Paradise. It's a game where you're like running a laundromat, but you also have arcade machines.
I remember we talked about that on the Xbox Drive, no pun intended, but all right, yeah, no, shameless plug. We both are on the Xbox Drive. Go listen to that too. But yeah, we talked about that game. I remember the laundromat game that had all the arcade machines in the back. I remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I remember GTA was like, I remember GTA being, I think, the biggest profile one that had like, still had cheat codes. I don't know if 5 does. I know 4 did for sure. I know 4 for a fact had cheat codes. Not sure about 5 though. Might not have, but no, I mean, that was also the funny thing too, is like that and Game Genie were like the greatest, coolest things ever. And then as you start to be like an adult, you just think about like, hey, the way that Game Genie worked, how it like manipulated code, real time manipulated code to give you extra lives, and the game still worked. Like, that's amazing. That's amazing how that like technology worked back then. Couldn't imagine.
Just think of it though, like all those cheat codes and Game Genie and all of that, that was accessibility options before there were accessibility options.
Basically, because some of those games were so fucking hard that unless you had 100 goddamn lives, you weren't going to beat it. It's just...
Because they had to last you half the year till you get your next birthday or Christmas present.
Yeah, I definitely feel like games back then were definitely harder for no fucking reason, really. Like, they're just more difficult. Come on, man. Like, we don't need to do all this shit. But I remember, like, example, I knew that Game Genie was weird when... I can't remember, I think it was like Mario I tried it on or something. It would tell you how many lives there were, but it would have some different symbol that I've never seen a day in my life. It would have some fucking hieroglyphic on screen that was pink. I'm like, that's not a number.
Yeah.
I don't know how many I have, but apparently it's infinite. Okay, cool. Like, I knew that's when it got weird, when how it was. But you know what's funny now? Call of Duty can't do a single update without breaking something in the game internally for weeks. Meanwhile, we had Game Genie that was literally manipulating code.
Literally a hacker.
Hacking it right then and there, and it worked just I bet you some of those codes probably fucked the games. You know what I mean? I bet you put in the wrong code. It might have ruined the game, but yeah, dude. Like, and then that thing also stuck out of your NES all weird and shit. It's fucking enormous. So you went NES. We all had a Game Genie. We all had to have the cheat codes in order for us to progress in the games. Now here's the big question. Where did you move to from here? Did you go Super or Sega?
We went Sega.
There you go.
Got some Sonic in our lives.
That's such a good answer, and that's such a correct answer. I'm right there with you. I definitely jumped ship to Sega because Sonic was cool and fast, and Mario was boring. Like, Sega's marketing targeted me so fucking hard. It's insane. Like, they did such a good job of marketing towards angsty little kids who just wanted to go fast like Sonic. Like, they did such a damn good job with that. Love it.
And I think the Sega is probably the last one that was like, really, my brother picked this.
Got
I think after that, it was more my doing. That's when he started to get out of it.
So was around what age was he, like, in high school around the time when that came out? Like, is that you?
I don't remember when it came out.
92, 3, something like that. I want to say
he graduated in 97, so
around middle school, high school, around that age. I what I noticed with a lot of people that I talk to around high school is where you either like hella lean into it or hella get away from it. Like, that's what I noticed with a lot of people, because like obviously your mind and body and everything are changing at such rapid paces that you could be into totally different things that could drag you away from gaming in a heartbeat, which is what happened to me. But yeah, like so he's like, hey, Sega, you got Sonic. Here's the only thing I found weird. I almost want to think back, like, multiplayer on Genesis. I remember like Mortal Kombat, NBA Jam, Sonic 2. But like after that, like a lot of the Genesis stuff, I don't really remember being too much multiplayer.
Yeah, it wasn't NHL 94.
Yeah,
it was on the Genesis. Mortal Kombat. Those are the ones I remember playing multiplayer, but yeah, more single player.
I remember NHL. My uncle had it, and all I wanted to do was check people so fucking hard that their head busted on the ice, and then blood comes out, and then the fucking ambulance comes on the ice. I'm like, that's all. I didn't even know the rules of hockey. I didn't watch hockey. Yeah. I just knew you could hit the shit out of people, and I'm like, I just want to do that over and over. I remember I was breaking all sorts. There was icing rules. I didn't know. I didn't give a shit. I was just like, I just want to hit people in the head. That's all I wanted to do. But yeah,
I just played Mortal Kombat for that.
Yeah, exactly. That's another good question. Were your parents ever, to a certain extent, did they ever get to where games were getting violent and they were like, no?
I don't remember it. I don't know if they just weren't paying attention or
best type of parents, right?
They didn't care.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Best type of parents, if you ask me. Ones that don't pay
attention. Up to this point, like NES era, like even Contra, like you're shooting people, like.
Right.
That's probably not great, but it wasn't graphic at all. So, that's fine. Like Mortal Kombat should have been the one where they would have said no. But by that point, my brother's just about in high school.
And they were just like, eh.
I was probably old enough. Heck with it. I mean, my mother used to make me watch scary movies with her because she needed someone to be there with her. Like, I watched Pet Sematary way too young.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess it was all right.
I mean, shout out to mom for, I guess, training you to desensitize you to any video games. But no, that's what I'm saying. Like, certain games, I think, when Mortal Kombat happened, obviously shit got real. Because, like, it got way graphic. Like, visually, it just became good enough to go, wow, that's very detailed. Like,
right.
Sub-Zero is definitely ripping that guy's spine out of his body. I can see the spine in detail. It's getting too far. Although, I always thought that was stupid. Like, I remember, like, Power Rangers had like a warning. It's like, don't karate kick your sisters. Basically, it was like, don't beat up your siblings, please. And I'm like, shut up. Don't tell me how to live my life. I'm watching Power Rangers. I'm practicing karate moves. I'm Michelle. Mind your business. But like, that is so funny because like, around that time is when people started getting real, like worried about violence and stuff. And I know there are some parents out there that are obviously more conservative when it comes to that stuff, and that's totally fine, right? I'm not
Yeah.
shitting on it. To a certain extent, it's like, hey man, if your kid's like 20, he could probably do what he wants, right? Probably don't shield
Yep.
him from shit then. But no, like some parents were like hella strict on that stuff, man. Like some parents were like, that will never be in my house. My mom tried, but failed miserably because
Yeah.
my uncle's awesome. Let's just say that. My uncle, I'd go to Texas and he'd be like, yo, what do you want? I'm like, he goes, any game. I don't care what your mom says. What game you want? I'm like, yeah, Uncle Neil, let's go. Mortal Kombat. He's like, oh yeah, let's go. Shout out to Uncle Neil, man. Uncle Neil, you're awesome. Best uncle in the world. But like he was, that's what I'm saying. Like certain things were like taboo. Don't really want them there, but then you just see it somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like if I really
Right.
wanted to.
Exactly. What happens if you go to your friend's house and they have Mortal Kombat?
Exactly. You stay over there a lot. You see,
Well,
I got
then,
their house
like,
a lot.
if it does affect you, say it does give you nightmares, and then you're not going to tell your parents because then you have to admit that you played the game you weren't supposed to. So
I'm trying
it
to
can really backfire.
100%. The only thing I remember I was little that was like, holy shit, traumatizing was like Child's Play 3, I think it was. Not necessarily Chucky, but I think Child's Play 3 was the one where they were at like a military camp or something, and he threw a fucking grenade and a kid like jumped on it to save everybody else and blew up, and that kind of fucked me up for a minute. I was like,
Yeah.
that's what those do. Like, holy fuck, that's crazy. Yeah, like I never got scared of like Friday the 13th or Mortal Kombat or anything like that. Those never gave me nightmares. But I remember that one scene. I don't even know where I watched it. Maybe I was just like passing by my friends, like mom and dad were watching on TV or some shit. I don't know. But I remember seeing that scene and being like, holy shit, that's gonna stick with me forever. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
That's like going to the movie rental store and convincing the older sibling of somebody to rent you like Faces of Death.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever see those? Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's
Terrible.
a reason that those aren't for kids.
For sure. There's a reason why there's ratings on shit, right?
Yeah. Some ratings really make sense.
Even like I remember like, of course, and it's like the video rental experience where you would just see the cover of some of these things and you're like, Jesus, the fuck is going on in this movie? Like there's just demons, melting faces. You're just like, oh, that's right on the cover. Okay. I guess we're all just going to see that guy's face being gone. Okay, cool. Like,
speaking of just looking at the covers, like I can remember going and renting video games and that's all you had. Like you looked at the cover, be like, oh, well, I guess that looks fun. Take it home for the weekend.
Right.
Now I can spend like 12 hours researching a game to see if I want to spend $10 on it.
You could watch somebody play it for the whole damn game if you want. Like you could just watch the game now. Like people just go online and watch a stream and be like, I'm gonna experience the game that way. Yeah, like the renting games back in the day was awesome too, because like you're right, you had a box art. My favorite thing is like, and this is also weird. My grocery store rented movies. My grocery store did, and they rented movies and they rented video games. Coolest shit in the world. I don't know who did it, but shout out to this guy. They had a sticker on the inside of like the case that they would give you for the game that had the instructions. Instead of you losing the instructions, they like typed out on like some dot matrix ass printer, typed out some instructions, and they were taped on the inside of the case. Like, here's how you play this game. I'm like, yo, shout out to Locally and that fucking awesome video. I don't know if it was some dude or what, if that was just their policy, but good for them, man. That shit was awesome. Because that was the other thing too, is like, there was no internet to just look up what this game did.
Well, games didn't have tutorials like they do now, so if it was more than run and jump, you might need instructions.
Right, exactly. And also too, like, I mean, obviously it's not like games were as complicated as they are now because there was a D-pad and 2 fucking buttons. Like, it can't be terribly hard. But when you start getting into some of those older games, you're like, no. Like, I got 4 buttons and shoulder buttons now. Oh shit, I got 2 triggers buttons on each side now. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, yeah, there was a lot like that. So those, do you remember any of these places renting the actual consoles?
Yeah. I don't even remember what we got. Like, did I rent a Super Nintendo once? I just knew that it existed.
Right.
Maybe we rented them like before we got them for Christmas. That's
to,
always
like, test
possible.
it out.
Yeah.
I remember like trying to convince my parents to like rent the other console, and they're like, yo, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Yeah. I only experienced it when I went to like a buddy's. Like, I would have different friends. I would stay the night at their house, and they'd be like, I have a Genesis. I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna bring this game over, we're gonna play. And then I'd go over one friend's house, I have a Super Nintendo, and I'm like, oh, okay. I guess we could play something. And that was the only experience though that I had, like, is like going to somebody else's house who had the other console. Like, I never had both if you had both consoles, you were rich.
Yep.
Your parents loved you so much they were spending hundreds of dollars twice. It's crazy. Like, I never knew anybody that had both consoles ever. It was, you had one or the other, and
Yep.
some people made the right choice and some people really fucking didn't. Sorry, all you Super Nintendo people. We played Mortal Kombat with blood. It was fucking
That's
awesome.
right.
Imagine, like, by the way, imagine that. The whole, like, no, you can't have blood in here. This is Mortal Kombat. They're like, make that shit green. Like, it's not blood. It's sweat.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure.
yeah, exactly. I didn't know people sweat that much. Like, that's the craziest thing. Like,
I only sweat right when I'm dying too. It's fine.
yeah, right. As I'm about to just pass out from, exhaustion. Yeah, because you don't die either. You fall over from exhaustion, right?
Yeah.
It's just so weird how Nintendo was like. And again, I kind of get it. They were just like conservative parents. They're just like, hey,
Yeah.
not in our house. No, you can't do that. But yeah, also too, if you didn't have like Super or Genesis, you were also either rich, weird, or both. Like, if you had like 3DO or any weird shit like that, you're like, the fuck is that thing?
Yeah.
Like, even though it was like leaps and bounds technology wise, like awesome, we were just dumb kids. And like, is there Sonic or Mario on it? No, we don't give a fuck. Like,
Yeah, I'm out.
did you? And of course, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic Knuckles. Did you ever have the stack? The Sonic Knuckles. Do you know about that though, right? The stack you can do. Okay.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna break your brain. So, this is DLC before DLC happened. Okay. So Sonic and Knuckles came out, and they were basically Knuckles' awesome character. He flies. He can climb walls. He's fucking cool. And on the top of the Sega cartridge for Sonic and Knuckles was a door that had another cartridge slot on it. You can put Sonic 2 on top of Sonic and Knuckles, and it looked like a Game Genie stack. And you could play Knuckles in Sonic 2. Or you
No
could put
way.
or you could put 3 on and play Knuckles in Sonic 3 levels. It was fucking awesome. And I was just like, technology. Like, here we are. This shit is
Magic.
awesome. It was magic. It was so fucking cool. And that, like I said, that was like DLC before DLC happened. Like, you basically played DLC character. You bought Knuckles, Sonic and Knuckles, and yeah, like it worked extremely well. It worked. It was phenomenal. I loved it. I loved every moment of it. It was great. Like, and then I remember they had Sonic 3D Blast, which was okay. Sonic 3D Blast was okay. Sonic Spinball, that was the only pinball game I ever gave a shit about. Sonic Pinball was awesome. What other games besides like NHL? So like, you said your brother was starting to get kind of out of gaming around that time. So was he kind of caring less and less like, I don't really want to play games. This is kind of yours now. You kind of go pick stuff out.
Yeah, I think it started to become that way probably halfway between the Genesis and the next consoles we got, that he just wasn't into it, right? He was going to hang out with his friends and do God knows what. Hopefully not getting arrested.
Right. That was back when like
Yeah.
getting your license was like, you got your license. That was freedom. That was it.
Yeah.
You were just like,
Yep.
yes.
He was gone.
Yeah. Gone.
Mhm.
It's like, and again, now it's weird because like my son, I was like, do you want to get your license? He's like, not really.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean not really? Like, what are you talking about? He's just like, because now you can literally hit a button, get something in 5 hours. You can literally hit a button, get any food you want delivered. Hit a button, get groceries delivered. You don't have
Not where I live.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, I live somewhere that has 4 Amazon warehouses within 20 minutes of here, and I can order something and get it in 2 hours. It's stupid. But thanks, Amazon. I appreciate you. You've come in a pinch a couple
Here,
times.
I mean, you could eat anytime you want, but you might have to go get it.
Get it yourself. But that's the thing is like, you have to go get it yourself. And like, that was my thing is like, I just wanted nothing more than my license so I can go just fucking leave and go do stuff. And again, that turned into a different conversation. Hey, mom, let me borrow the car. Because hey, mom, let me borrow the van. By the way, if you're growing up and you have a minivan, you might hate it, but you can get like 8 of your fucking friends in there and go do hood rat shit, and it's fucking awesome. We did hood rat things. I just was like, get everybody, tell everybody we're going to do something. and we just go do stuff. Don't fucking worry about what I did. But no,
Yeah.
it was awesome. Like that was the thing, is like getting your license and like leaving. But like I said, priorities changed immediately. Oh, I got my license. I can go hang out with my friends and go do other stuff as me being an
And my
older
parents were
person.
happy. They're like, go do whatever, and we don't have to pick you up or take you there.
As a person who's had to drop their son off at work ever since he doesn't have his car, I understand that sentiment.
Yep.
Now I'm just like, "Oh, fuck, I gotta go get you. Okay, I guess I'll go pick you up.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, growing up, like, and again, like your hobbies change, things like that. Obviously the cool thing is your hobbies, you stayed with games. Like, it was still something that was still you were still passionate about, which is pretty cool. So again, let's make this decision. You go from Genesis. So where are we going now?
N64.
Oh my God. I couldn't. I couldn't.
The Mario lured me back in. What can I say?
Mario 64 is one of the best games of all time. I will never shit on that game. That is definitely, by the way, fuck you, Nintendo, for putting those demo units in every single Walmart, Toys R Us, because that was crack cocaine to children. You put that shit in front of them and go, this is what Mario looks like now. And people lost their fucking minds. They're just like, what? That game, I understand that. What got me messed up, though, and again, this was just me being a angsty teenage boy, Twisted Metal on PlayStation. Neighbor across the street, his dad had Twisted Metal on PlayStation, and I was just like, fucking cars are exploding. This is awesome.
And that's why I think, like, this is where it was me picking and not my brother. Because if it had been my brother, we would have been on PlayStation.
100%.
But fortunately, he was, like, in high school doing high school things and didn't care about what I was doing at home with video games.
Right. Did he ever come back and like try to play any of the stuff that you picked out or anything? Or was he kind of just, he was donezo?
He was like, just done.
Damn.
Left me behind.
He's like, I'm doing cool shit. Bye. It just leaves you alone.
But I think we also, in that time frame, like mid-90s, would have had like a new computer.
Oh, so yeah, because computer is still the constant. So technically, you have two consoles. Technically, let me rephrase that. You have two different things that can play games.
Yeah.
So you're upgrading your. So you're still playing PC games this whole time.
Not this whole time, but I think we got back around to it around there.
Okay. Yeah.
But I can remember more too. Like, that's getting to where the internet existed.
Right.
And I'm like on AOL, and you've got mail. Messaging strangers around the world, which is a great idea as a young girl.
AIM is a whole separate podcast that we could do about AIM, because AIM was the best thing in the world and the craziest thing in the world that ever existed. MSN Messenger, AIM, oh my God, the conversations that happened. Yeah. Some of those statute of limitations hopefully are up by now, but like, it's just wild shit. Before there was parental controls, get the fuck out of here. We were doing wild shit on AIM and MSN Messenger and Hotmail Messenger and Windows Messenger and whatever the fuck 900 names they called that program. We were all over it. So yeah, that was, those were fun times.
So there was more modern PC things happening as well, right? Playing Duke Nukem and...
It's so funny because some of those like super aggressive games were definitely PC games, right?
Yeah.
Like Duke Nukem, Postal.
There's no rules there.
It was the Wild West. Like, people were just doing whatever the fuck they wanted. And it's like, it's weird because I kind of imagine they still had to go through the ESRB for shit. But I guess on PC, maybe not. I don't know. Like, some of those games are like Duke Nukem, like, was super misogynistic and super just boobs everywhere and big guns.
I mean, they had a game called Leisure Suit Larry.
Yep, exactly. Like, there was like those types of games that were definitely like, those were never touching consoles ever. I remember the only two games I remember, obviously that had like, well, let me rephrase that. Hot Coffee mod on San Andreas. That was hilarious. I'm sorry, like, obviously that was them, like some dude who was bored and was like, check out this cool thing I made, and they just never took it out of the code. Like, that's just something that's like hilarious. But then there was a game called The Guy Game, which of course it's called the guy game. And basically, it was like a game show game, and it was just like women would flash their boobs. And that went to like consoles. And like, I was like, this is weird. Like, anybody who comes in looking for this, it's like that dude in the trench coat who goes to through the video section with the ropes.
Yep.
It's that same dude who's coming asking for the fucking guy game. I'm like, fucking weirdo. All right, I'll find it for you.
Yeah.
Let me go look for it.
And you wonder why, like, you can't find a girlfriend or wife that plays video games. This is why.
Yeah.
There wasn't the girl game.
Yeah, there was
the guy game with just boobies everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Also, of course, everybody loves when Tomb Raider happened with super triangle boobs, and people fell in love with Lara Croft, which I never understood it. I never understood it. I never said, maybe because at the time when that came out, I was actually talking to real girls.
Yeah,
you know, like,
that's probably it.
I don't know.
You're like on the cusp of being too old.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, some people are into like anime characters and they get body pillows and shit, and I'm not gonna judge you, but I was just like, there's a girl over there that wants to actually like talk to me and like probably wants to make out at Skateco later tonight. You know what I mean? Those types of things, right? Not like fucking Lara Croft staring at triangle boobs. That was just people. And I remember she was in like Maxim or some shit. I'm like, all right, people, like, can we relax, please? This is fucking weird.
Calm down now.
Calm down now. But no, like, that was definitely, you're right though, because there was a lot of games, especially on PC though, because PC, like you said, who gives a PC was nuts. There was no like company like Nintendo or Sega or and anybody to say no. They're just like, can you build a game?
Oh, you have a Windows PC. Here, this will work on it.
This will work on it. Not that this is graphic. Like, should you play this because of the content? Does it work? Do you have a Pentium 1 and this? Yes, it'll work.
Yep.
That's just so, and again, though,
like back when you had to like buy a box with your PC game in it at the store.
And by the way, why was it so fucking big? Why was the box the size of my chest? Like, why was it so fucking big?
So you need a trench coat to steal it. That's why.
Exactly. I it's so weird because I remember you see videos go, if you want a real laugh, people lined up for Windows 95. Remember that, people. People lined up in the fucking cold outdoors weather elements for Windows.
Yep.
That's fucking crazy. That just shows you how like
that's how bad it was before.
Right. Yeah. That's one thing I will say too that I've mentioned before is how like midnight launches were awesome, but obviously convenience is just way easier to do things now. But midnight launches were fucking special, and like that shit is fun. Do you remember like what your first? Did you ever do a midnight launch? Anything like that?
Not that I recall. Probably the closest I did was like trying to get a Wii. And this was a while after they were released. You still couldn't get them. You had to like call the store and say, when are you getting a shipment in? And then show up at 3 a.m. Hopefully it actually showed up.
That's how like I'm trying to remember like console wise. Again, obviously I was a kid. I wasn't paying attention to stuff. The only thing I felt like I did that with, and I'm so fucking stupid, was WWF Attitude. Because back in the day I was into wrestling because wrestling was fucking awesome. Also, if you didn't like wrestling back in the day, a little, something was wrong with you. I was just like, come on, man, it's fucking wrestling. It's awesome. Anyways, a new game called WWF Attitude was coming out on PlayStation. And this was back in the day when like you'd have like Game Pro or EGM that would give you a estimated release date, but there was never a fucking concrete date ever. It was just like summer. Cool. When the fuck is summer? Like, what day do you think summer is? Acclaim? Could you just tell me? So I called the Walmart every fucking day for a whole summer. Like, y'all got WWF Attitude? And they're like, no, you fucking kid that keeps calling us every day. We still don't have it. Until one day. Do you guys have WWF? We do. It just came in. Mom, let's go to the store. Like, I was just so stoked. But that's what I'm saying. Like, calling ahead of time, trying to like pre-order stuff, trying to like see if stuff was in stock. It's still a thing. The only thing that sucks now is you, instead of fighting people at line at 3 a.m., you're fighting bots on eBay because that's the new thing now. So
that's super fun.
Yeah, it's real fun, right? I will say, fortunate enough, for the most part, I don't think I've ran across a situation where I haven't been able to get, like I did this, like Series X when it came out, PS, like haven't had issues where I was just like, no, I've just been able to kind of get it and it's been cool, but I actually was lucky enough to where I've been able to get it, and then like my buddies are still struggling to get it, and I'll go to buy another one, and somehow I can still do it. And I've bought consoles for like my buddies, and again, I'm not a dickhead and selling them for more because I'm not one of those assholes. Heads up, just want to let you know right now, if you're one of those assholes that buys a game console, the launch series, and then sells it for twice as much, you're a piece of shit. I
picked up a couple extra, like an extra PlayStation and a Series X between when they launched and Christmas, and gave them to friends that were getting them for their kids.
Right. Yeah.
Because I sit at a computer all day. The one was like, the mom's a nurse and the dad works in a steel mill. Like, how is he going to get it? Like when Target drops their new units at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday.
Exactly. Exactly.
There's no way. So
that's the shitty part. Is like, and also too, it's like never convenient for everybody because like somebody will be working, even if you do it at like night, somebody's still working, and it kind of sucks. But yeah, it's a similar thing. Like I have just been like available when they go live, and I'm just like cool. Like I bought them, and like I said, I bought them and just the only there was one guy. And by the way, all this stuff that I'm saying of like fuck you if you do that and sell them for double. I hate those people because of one guy who I'm not going to name on here just in case he ever randomly listens to this show. There was this, I'll refer to him as fucking loser, who would buy all the Wii U stuff. Okay. So Wii U was coming out. He went to every Best Buy. I worked at Best Buy at the time. He went to every Best Buy because he was mad that Best Buy would only let you pre-order one because he was going to be that dickhead that was going to buy a bunch and try to do that. He went to every Best Buy in Phoenix to pre-order one from each of them. Wii U comes out, and straight up, no one fucking wanted it, dog. He had like 10, and no one gave a fuck about it. And I was just like, good. That's what you fucking get. That's what you get for doing this shit. And again, like, there could have been a mom who like...
Yeah.
That's what I always think about. I always get weird when it comes to that shit, when I see people come in and buy like 4. And I'm just bitter as a person because of like, me seeing heartbreak of like a mom or a parent who wanted one, but that piece of shit bought 5 because he's going to sell 4 of them. I get so triggered with that because I've seen flat out kids cry in front of me because of people like that. This is why I hate those people so much. I've seen some people do a little bit more, but like double, like those people piss me off. Those people piss me off. Yeah. But I digress. Like console, I wouldn't say consoles got weird like that either until like PS2. PS2 is where it got like, it was hard to find the console just because they literally could not make them fucking fast enough. Like,
well, PS2 is that special unicorn as well.
Yeah, it was.
Like, the main reason I had one was because it was a DVD player.
Yeah.
And I was like on that cusp where like I probably would have completely fallen off gaming right around then for a period of time, but I still had like that urge every now and then, like, oh, I want to play a game, right? So getting a PS2 was the easier decision.
For sure.
So, like, mainly what I remember from that is Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City.
Yeah, come on. Like, those games were fucking it, man. Like, what's funny is around that era is when I stopped playing. Because I was skateboarding. I played Tony Hawk on PlayStation 1. And Tony Hawk 2. And then I was like, fucking skateboarding is awesome. Fuck video games. And I just, the only game I cared to play was the newest Tony Hawk game. That's it. Like, that's all I cared about because I was so ingrained in skateboarding, and like, that's all I did from, it's like literally high school is when I started. Freshman year of high school, I would wake up, go to school, get off school, skateboard until dark, come home, sleep, and repeat. Like, that's all I did. And it's funny because, like, I remember seeing my buddy playing Grand Theft Auto 3, and I was just like, well, that's cool. I'm gonna go skateboard. Like, I was just like, it just was like, it was not the cool thing I wanted to do at the time. So I wasn't as into it, but yeah, I remember.
Do you regret that decision now? Like, do you have aches and pains from broken bones that you're like, man, I shouldn't have done that?
No. I you know what sucks? I still love, it's one of those things, like, if you're really into skateboarding, it's something that like never leaves you. Like, I still ride by certain things and go, man, that'd be fun to jump down. Like that gap, like swear to God, today I went to go return something at Kohl's for Amazon. I was leaving, and there's this like driveway, this like drive through that has like a gap down to a parking lot. And I was like, yeah, that would have been fun to skate back in the day. Or I see handrails and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like, there's just something about that skateboard brain that doesn't shut off. And even still, I watch videos, I watch tons of stuff. I still keep
Yeah.
up with it. But no, like I don't, thankfully, my body, I mean, I'm sure my eating habits have done worse damage to my body than skateboarding ever did. But I like I said, do my knees sound like popcorn going up the stairs? Yes. You know, that sucks when you're trying to sneak up on your kids, by the way. That shit sucks. Like my kids, all their rooms are upstairs. So when I try to sneak up and hear what they're doing, it's just like, it sounds like just popping popcorn. They know fucking dad's coming upstairs. Yeah, that's the only part that sucks. Otherwise, I don't have really knee pain yet.
No.
Yet. I say yet. It's gonna happen. I know it. But you know, skateboarding, like I said, that kind of took over that. The PlayStation, like you had mentioned though, that DVD thing too. DVD players at the time were like $1,000 fucking dollars. They were like $8,000, $600, $800, $1,000, $300 for a PS2.
Spend this money and get a DVD player by itself, where I could spend less money and get video games and DVDs.
Right. For the amount of like a PS2 and games, that's still cheaper than a DVD player. It was nuts back in the day, like how that worked. And again, Sony, smartest decision they ever made, probably. Easily.
Yeah,
like,
and they leaned into it. Like I remember like the remote control that you get with it that was clearly, this is a DVD player.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah. I'm sure there's like plenty of people that bought it as a DVD player and never put a game in it just because it was the cheaper alternative, right? Like it was just cheap. It was, you know, hey ma'am, you want a PS2 instead? It's half the cost of this DVD player. What's different about it? Not a lot.
Like, it does other stuff too.
yeah, it does other stuff too, actually. Like that was the weird thing. But yeah, I remember the only thing that was annoying is Xbox had DVD playback, but you had to buy the remote. That's the stupidest fucking thing in the world. To play DVDs, you had to buy the Xbox remote, plug the little dongle into one of the controller ports for it to unlock the ability to play DVDs. I'm like, hey, this thing can do it without this fucking remote if you wanted it to, but you just want us to buy a $25 remote. And people did. I get it. People did.
Yeah.
It was that was your DLC to unlock game console features. What the fuck, man? Like that was it's such a slimy thing, but you know, it is what it is. We kind of skipped over N64 though. Like, did you play anything else besides Mario? Like, I mean, obviously Mario 64 was like, God damn it, that game is so good. It's still good.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to play now. It's the camera controls. It's really challenging.
It can, but even still, I feel like those camera controls, even though it is very like clicky, right? It's very like you have to get in a certain angle. I don't know. I still feel like I can play it and still have fun. Obviously, if they did a Mario 64 remake and actually had like a smooth camera and like, I mean, if they did Mario 64 remake, I'd shut up. I'd stop talking shit about the Switch for a little bit and I'd start playing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they just gave us a port of it instead.
Yeah.
Limited time only.
Which I do have, by the way. I do.
I have it as well. Yeah. Like, I bought it, but
of course, I you know what's funny? Out of all things, I think so many people make a joke about Skyrim. I've bought Skyrim 5 times. I've bought every fucking version of N64 Mario 64. I bought it when it was on the DS. I bought it when it was on the Wii virtual virtual shop, the eShop. I bought the fucking Switch version. I bought it every time it's come out because I still feel like you deserve money for making a game that's like 20 years old and it's still this fucking awesome. It's still good. Like, yeah, I like how that game absolutely changed. It literally changed everything. 3D gaming would not be where it was without that game. And that was a fucking launch title for that console. That wasn't a swan song console like game. Like, you know, I always say like Last of Us on PS3, which people forget that shit was actually on PS3, the first Last of Us. There's your swan song. Here's the best we can get out of this console. Here you go. Mario 64 was a goddamn day one game with that console, which might be one of the best launch console games ever. Like that and Mario World on Super Nintendo.
I don't even get launch games anymore.
What are launch games? Yeah, it's just back and pat, better looking, basically now. Yeah, exactly. I didn't even think about that. Holy shit, we really don't even get launch games anymore.
No, they're not ready.
What the fuck? You're right, they're not even ready. There hasn't been a game. Even like, I'm thinking about it now. PS5 games, when they launch, they have a PS4 version still. There's no like, I haven't seen one game that's come out with the newer consoles, at least. Well, like I think the last launch titles you would have to say would be like Xbox One, PS4 era, because those had like on Xbox at least you had like Rise, Son of Rome, you had Dead Rising, and like those were proper like, here's the new console, here's what the graphics look like, here's what the power can look like. But like since then, there hasn't been. That's
supposed to be Halo. How long did it take for Halo to come out? Another year?
We don't want to talk about Halo Infinite. But you're right, that should have been it.
It's on the box.
But the thing that sucked at the same time though, yeah, that's true. That is fucking crazy, right? Like the thing is though too though, like that game though, even though it was supposed to be a launch for the console, it was still playable on old ones. Like we haven't had a proper thing like that in a while.
We did. We had PlayStation 5 and Astro's Playroom.
You beat me. You got me.
Pack in. Which is even better.
Yeah, I was saying, I was gonna say pack-in games are a thing that also aren't even a fucking thing anymore, except for PS5. That had it. Astro's that game is the perfect selling point for a PS5.
Yeah.
You want to try the cool controller? Here. Enjoy this game. It's basically like a glorified tech demo, but people like the shit out of that game.
And also, anybody who had a PlayStation ever had a blast with it, because it's like all of the old little scenes from all the old games.
Right. Yeah, and like that, and as we're recording this tomorrow, there's a PlayStation Direct, which is supposed to have possibly a new Astro, like a game, and Bowsah's like, please
don't give me hope.
Exactly.
I want a VR. That would really make the world mad.
Do you have a
PSVR 2?
Do you have a PSVR 2? I'm sorry. That thing is getting
they just like patented or like disclosed a accessory to make it PC compatible, so
good. It fucking needs it.
They promised it for this year. And I'm glad, because I have a Quest 2 and it only works occasionally, so.
Aw. I have a Quest 2 that is sitting in a drawer right there. It's probably you know what? It sucks because when I play it, I actually do go, fuck, this is cool. Right? Like this is cool. But then I'm just like, I'm good. Like I just don't want to set, like, out of all things, the Quest 2 at least has the least barrier of entry, just to put the headset on and go.
Put it on.
But the problem is when you hook it up to a PC and actually see like higher fidelity shit, you're like, I don't want to play this shit portable. It's way better when you hook it up to a PC and get like,
well, you can do it wirelessly through your PC too.
You can, and that thing has like a 2-second battery if you do that, because that thing is fucking screaming at me, just like I'm using so much power right now. There's a lot of cool things that they have, like I said, on the Quest and stuff like that. But you're right. I didn't even think about that. Pack-in games. Even like N64 didn't have pack-in games. The last like games, I would say, well, Wii Sports. That was a thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wii Sports. That was the last, besides Astro, that was the last proper pack-in?
Probably.
Yeah. No, that was... yeah, because like I said, back in the day, like Super Mario World, Sonic was pack-in, Super Mario World. Super Mario 64 was not a pack-in, but it was almost like the Breath of the Wild situation, or like Tears. Like if you owned a Switch and didn't own Breath of the Wild, something was like fucking wrong with you. You're like,
well,
what are you doing?
There was something wrong with me for a while.
You didn't own it? And do you know the sell-in rate of that thing was like 80% of people who have a Switch have it? Like it was
the only game that was there.
Right. Right. So that's what I'm saying. But like Mario 64's sell-in rate had to be fucking astronomical for that console.
Yeah.
Like it had to be. Because that was a console though at launch that it had one of the best games ever. And then like nothing for a while. Like it didn't have shit for a while. But you had Mario 64. So who cares?
Yeah. And it was a big game too. So
it was a big game, and trying to like do all the stars in it, all that stuff. Like it was, like I said, that game still, I think about the way that game was designed and everything and how different it was. And I'm just like, yo, the fucking galaxy brains that were at Nintendo figuring that shit out, man. Like good for you guys. You guys did that shit perfect. Although Sunshine was also really fucking good. Sunshine was real good. It felt like just cleaner Mario 64 with a little extra toy.
The first time I played it was the Switch version, the 3D All-Stars.
Oh, really? For that one? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Again, I didn't play it until much later, like after high school and stuff. But like when I played Sunshine, I'm like, oh, this is really like movement-wise Mario 64 and like defeating enemies. But then you just had like this jetpack thing and water shooter. I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like that totally works. Um, so you went from N64. What else did you play besides Mario 64?
So, Wave Race,
Okay. Another launch
GoldenEye,
title.
of course.
Man, that's where I feel bad. I didn't play GoldenEye, Perfect Dark. I didn't play any of those. I
Yeah.
really didn't. I was on PlayStation. I was playing. That's the weirdest thing too, is because even though I had buddies to play with, we played tons of single player shit. Resident Evil 2, Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill. Like we played tons of single player stuff, just passing the controller between us. Like the multiplayer was all N64. Like
Yeah.
they did that shit so well, and
Because it was
PlayStation.
the family console.
Exactly. It had 4 controller ports. I feel like every game was forced to have 4 fucking players work with it.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo was
Maybe.
like, you better have 4. Don't make this shit 2. It better be 4. But like PlayStation was the exact opposite. They were just like, here's all of your narrative crazy games. Here's your Final Fantasies.
Yep.
Here's your Legend of Dragoons. Here's this. Here's that. And they would just blow you up with single player shit. But I was cool with it because
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid was fucking awesome.
Might have been better for me, you know?
In your case, yeah,
Have
because
people to
especially with
play
your
with you.
brother. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I played a
that's
fair bit of 1080 snowboarding.
good game. Good game.
That was a good game.
I-
And then one I completely forgot about until it recently came to the Nintendo Switch Online
Mhm.
N64 collection, and that's Blast Corps.
I swear to God, I was just on the same page with you. I was like, she's gonna say Blast Corps and shit. Yeah. That's the one, like I said, on that console, the games I remember fondly, Mario 64, of course. All the wrestling games. WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy, WCW, NWO Revenge. Those games were fucking, and the coolest thing was they were completely different than the PlayStation ones. Like this, again, they had
Yeah.
2 different companies working on this shit. So like this entire engine was not the same as this one. So like that was awesome. I thought. What's funny is around that time is when my sister, I already had a PlayStation, but my sister was like, I want an N64 for Christmas. So she
Nice.
was like, and then she got the Donkey Kong 64 lime green one with the expansion pack. That was the one she got. And I remember playing Donkey Kong 64, and I didn't think it was terrible, but apparently the internet did. Like everybody else was like, that game's, I'm like, I didn't think, I was one of those, I 100%ed it. I was like, I didn't think this game was that bad. I don't know why everybody hates
Yeah.
it, but whatever. But it's funny, she was like, that was almost like the only thing she got. Like, it's like she got the console and was just like, I don't want any other games for it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. But I played Donkey Kong 64. I played the shit out of that game, which I thought was fun. But I never, again, that was starting around the time when I was getting out of it. And I was just like, I didn't care to ask for other games for her console. She was
Yep.
also kind of, this is my console. You have that. I'm like, whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I said, because when PlayStation 1, Tony Hawk happened, that was it. That was it for me. Like, Tony Hawk, by the way, and Tony Hawk 1 and 2 are still fucking top tier games. They're still some of the best Metacritic rated games ever, by the way. Like, Tony Hawk 2 has like a 9.8 on Metacritic, which is insane and well deserved. That game is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and then like I said, so you kept going. You went obviously PS2. That's the easiest choice. So then you started getting, I assume, again, this is all you now. Brother's not caring about games at all. This is you getting what games? So like what games were starting to draw your attention there?
Yeah, so I didn't have a lot of games that I can even remember on PlayStation 2, but it was Grand Theft Auto stuff.
Yeah. Because the replayability
Vice
of
City.
those replayabilities of like just fucking around. Like
Yeah.
it was just fun doing mindless, just doing anything in that game was just fun. And then, of course, cheat codes made that game infinitely better, where you can just get any weapon you want and clear stars whenever you want. So you can just be an asshole, have 5 stars, and then just get rid of them instantly. That's
Yep.
all fun. Those games,
Yeah,
like I said,
my-
yeah, those are great.
My mom modded my PS2 for me. That's her claim to fame.
Shout out to mom.
She made heart pacemakers for a living.
Holy
That's
shit.
where she learned how to solder.
That's fucking awesome. Okay, hold on.
So like she knew how to solder. I was going to school for computer engineering, and she's the one soldering the mod chip into my PlayStation.
That's hilarious. So mod chip just essentially played burn games, right? Essentially, that's
Yeah.
how it was. Did
Yeah.
you have the whole setup? Allegedly, did you have the whole setup of like You were able to burn the games yourself. Did you have the ISOs and the ROMs and all that to download and everything yourself?
I think it was more like I would rent something,
Oh, you could rent and like just copy it.
then rip it and burn it. I think
That's awesome.
it must have been how it was done. Because I would have had a decent computer then to go to college.
But yeah, and also too, game downloads. Like, I mean, that would have been 8 gigs, which back in the day was
It would have
fucking.
been like 37 years,
Yeah, exactly.
16 viruses.
Yeah, exactly. Going to the sketchy websites you definitely shouldn't be going to get them.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah.
My computer was busy doing other stuff on sketchy websites.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Surviving those sites, dodging bullets like crazy, right? No, that's allegedly, that's awesome. That's allegedly really cool. I like allegedly. Let's just say Mitch allegedly talked to a guy who did that to his 360.
Yeah.
And let's say allegedly Mitch had Game Pass before Game Pass was a thing.
Yeah.
But the only thing I'll say that's different is you actually allegedly could download the game and burn it to a disc and just play it. And we had, me and my boys allegedly had binders of games. And like the weirdest thing is we were on a like a file sharing website that like you had to like upload as much as you downloaded.
Yeah.
Like it was very much like, motherfucker, if you're not gonna upload on this shit, we're gonna kick you off the site type of shit. It was so crazy.
If we're going down, you're going with us.
Yeah. Like you have to have as much upload as download. And then the other thing too is like they were very specific. Like you had to buy super specific like dual layer DVDs for them to work. There was like a brand that they recommended. There was like a certain disk drive that worked best. And I remember that Best Buy that we worked at, those discs were never fucking in stock because it was me, this guy that just bought them all fucking time. And they had the games up there relatively quickly. I'd say within a day, they were uploaded, ripped online, ready to download. And we were, and I remember occasionally they would do like an update to the console that would get rid of it. And then I'd be like, hey, dude, you got it fixed yet? He's like, yeah, I got it fixed. Just bring it over. Like, and this guy, I God bless him. I hope he's not in jail somewhere for doing illegal shit. But like, this guy was just like some dad. I'd go to his house and his kids are running around. He's like, what's going on? Like, it was all shady. It's like, I was told I can get something modded here. He's like, yeah, come over here. And he had like a front room right off the door that had like a whole wall of like 360 caskets that were just like shelves of parts. He's just like, are you trying to fix it or are you trying to just mod it? Like this guy knew everything. It's like, you got red ring, you go to him, he could fix it. That motherfucker was
nice.
Allegedly doing a lot of things. Again, I hope you are not in jail. I hope you are with your family enjoying your life together. But yeah, like that was the one thing, this guy. But I don't know how it happened. I don't know how it came up, but it was like, hey, I got a guy. It was absolutely like a drug deal, but we're not. Yeah, we're just nerdy and doing alleged stuff. Definitely didn't do it though, for sure.
No, you wouldn't do that.
So was that kind of the similar thing though when you modded your PS2, where did you just have fucking every game? Did you just rent everything because who cares?
Yeah, I did a lot, and I think it ended up like I didn't play them, right? Because I don't know. It's kind of the Game Pass mentality. Like I can play all of these hundreds of games. But I don't know. I didn't have the investment into it, so.
It's so strange. That happened to me too. Like when you have access to everything, your hype it's not as there. It's not as.
It doesn't hit.
It doesn't hit. And like we had everything. We could have played everything. And there was just a couple games that we were just like, yeah, but like it doesn't hit the same. It just doesn't feel as good. But no, I mean, like I said, when we still played the shit out of everything. Like we played a lot of stuff and had those binders and binders of CDs, allegedly. Did you ever get to a point where you had more than one console? Like you had PS2. Did you ever have PS2 and GameCube and Xbox or any, like you kind of stuck one console per generation type of deal?
Yeah, until last generation. That's when I started to branch out. Though I guess, like, can you say that having a home console and a Game Boy counts?
Yes.
No, I had OG Game Boy.
Yes.
And like go on a road trip with a giant case of batteries just so you'd make it with your Game Boy and your Game Boy Light.
I was gonna say there was two different types of people. There was people that had lights and people that didn't have lights. If you didn't have lights, you were just in the back on the window, fucking hoping for street lights to hit your shit. Yep. And then a car, you fly down the road and hope there's just street lights all over the place so you can see it. Or
This
you
was
just had
back when we're like going from Pittsburgh to Delaware to visit my aunt and uncle, and like my brother got to sleep on the back seat and I got to sleep on the floor below the back seat. And that's how I rode the entire trip.
Exactly. Fuck seatbelts. Who cares?
How I'm still alive?
Yeah.
I don't know. But
that, you know what's funny is like a lot of the people that I knew that grew up in like rural areas, they may not have had consoles, but they had Game Boys because those trips to get the fuck into civilization.
Yeah, if you want to go anywhere,
right? Get to civilization, you need that. And yeah, like I was all about. So yeah, did you continue the Game Boy trend, like where you had that like every upgrade for that, or did you just have like OG Game Boy? And
nope,
kind of
just
like,
just the OG Game Boy.
I didn't get a Game Boy. I remember my buddy had a Game Boy. We played Zelda and Tetris and shit was awesome. I didn't get one until Game Boy Color with Pokemon, and that was a big thing in my life for a while too, was Pokemon. Yeah. Like, again, the only reason why I wanted to have an N64 where I was to do fucking Pokemon Stadium. And I remember Blockbuster being fucking awesome and renting the transfer pack with the game. That was the coolest thing in the world. So they actually like had the transfer pack with it. Because by the way, Pokemon Stadium without the transfer pack fucking sucks. It sucks. You can't use your Pokemon that you've been building and you've been doing. You have to use these fucking random ones. It's trash. And that's why I was like thankful. Not to mention, weirdest shit in the world, Blockbusters had a kiosk where you could bring your game and like print pictures on this kiosk at a Blockbuster. Weird shit in the 90s. Exactly. Like, things that happened in the 90s that will never happen now, ever. But no, like that was such a cool thing too. Like, man, like I said, I mostly played Game Boys until like I just kept playing until I think like I stopped, and then I picked up like an Advance when I started playing games again. And again, it was just I only really gave a shit about Pokemon on Game Boy. I didn't really mess with really any other game. I started messing on DS with the Castlevania games because they were just like Symphony of the Night, but like Dawn of Sorrow and like the 3DS or not 3DS, DS 2D side scroller Castlevania games. Those were fucking awesome. They did a great job on those. But that was again when I was starting to get more into gaming down the road, where I like came back into gaming. Was there ever a point in time, gaming wise, when you kind of like lulled out and stopped?
Yeah, it was after getting the PlayStation 2. That's kind of like I went away to college, and when I was home, I was doing stuff at the volunteer fire department. So I was just like never home. Right. And even after I graduated college, like I bought my house and I slept there and took showers, and that's about it.
Right, exactly.
I go to work all day, go to the fire department, hang out, go to the fireman's club, have a few drinks, wake up, do it all over again.
Right.
There wasn't time for gaming.
Time. Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
So, did you ever stay? So at that point in time, though, you didn't even stay in like the culture of video games or nothing. You were just checked out. Like I was
pretty much out.
They were pretty much out. What got you back into gaming?
So I kind of got back in when the Wii came out.
Okay.
It took a little while to get one. And that was, I think, just because even people that weren't gamers could play. Like everybody could play Wii Tennis and Wii Bowling and all of this stuff. So yeah, I still had my Super Mario Galaxy and got WarioWare, Smooth Moves.
That game
having fun with that.
By the way.
Yeah. But like everybody could come over and play Wii Sports or Carnival Games.
That, oh my God. Carnival Games was like the second most sold fucking Wii game probably of all time, because that thing was like $20, and it was like when I worked at Best Buy and we were selling them, it was like that Wii Sports Resort, because it came with an extra Wii remote that everybody fucking wanted. So if you want a Wii remote, you might as well pay $10 more and get Wii Sports Resort. That was it. Oh, you want another game that the whole family can play? Fucking Carnival Games. Carnival Games sold. It was like $20. I was like a third game. Sure. Everybody bought it. And then like that's how I felt like though. But you're right. Like that was definitely I felt like that was more around the time when like party games, like local, even though the internet was available, local party games. That was it. Rock Band was there, Guitar Hero was there. Like
Yep.
those are the games that you would go to a house to have like a fucking night of ... right? Whatever the hell it was.
Yep.
Um,
You want
but
to hear a
those are-
tragic story
of course.
at my expense, of course.
Oh no! Oh no! It's at your expense. That's terrible. Let me hold on. I'm so sorry. What happened? Tell me.
So, like I said, it was hard to get away. Finally, like nailed down that Target was going to have them. Drove an hour away to this Target in the middle of the night. Wait out there, get my Wii, go home. Ripping the box open, setting things up, turn it on, it won't work. The Wiimote like wasn't registering on the screen. Like I couldn't get any interaction whatsoever. I finally figured it out. You know how they had like that little sensor bar
Yeah.
you had to put on the TV?
Uh-huh.
The wire to it got pinched.
Which is thin as fuck, by the way. It is so
unnecessarily thin.
On such a thin wire. I remember seeing that and I'm like, a cat
And
will
it's
go,
the cord
and it's gone.
It's like 87 miles long.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So oh my
so
God.
I couldn't play my Wii.
Did you? Okay. So, and this is more when the internet. Did you know the 2 candle trick thing?
Actually, the way I actually finally figured out what was wrong was someone suggested using a digital camera to like look through at
so
the
you could
sensor bar
see,
to see if the IR LEDs were showing, and they weren't. And that's when I traced out the core. Okay, this is where it's bad.
That's fucking shitty.
And then
Oh
when I
my
found
God.
out what it was, I went to Radio Shack and bought IR LEDs. Got a little circuit board. I put it all together so I could at least do something with my brand new
Damn.
console. I called Nintendo support and they shipped me a new one, but
You're
it
waiting.
took like a week to get
yeah,
there.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. You're waiting. Oh, I'd be fucking bummed. I had a it wasn't as bad of a situation as yours, but my Rock Band situation was kind of similar. So, by the way, my first ever purchase from Amazon.com, Rock Band. That was my first purchase ever from Amazon. Okay. That's how it shows you how fucking old I am, by the way. Anyway.
Well, no, my first purchase was books because that's all they had when they started.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, fuck books. Nobody wants books. Video games. But also, it was like a giant box. And I was just like, it was available. That was the first time I ever bought anything off Amazon. So I get the box. And I bought, it has a whole band kit. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going to play drum. I was so into Guitar Hero. You have no idea. We'll get into that on the Xbox Drive one day eventually. But I was hella into Guitar Hero. And I was like, I want to play Rock Band. I get Rock Band. I get it all set up. I put the drums together. And I'm like, awesome. And I go and I look for where the drumsticks are. And I find one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think it's supposed to come with 2, right?
Yeah.
I tear the whole fucking box apart. I look everywhere under the couch where I was setting everything up. I only had 1 drumstick. And I'm like, this whole day, all I've been wanting to do is play drums. And I can't with 1 drumstick. This is bullshit. And I was so sad. And I got to the part where I was so defeated. I just started taking shit apart. And I was going to call customer support and all, or like go buy a drumstick. I started taking everything apart. The drum legs that hold the drum up are hollow. My son, who was a child at the time, took one of the drumsticks and put it in there.
Oh, wow.
So when I put the drumstick thing, the drums on the stand, I didn't find it.
Yeah.
It's just gone. And then I took the drum pad off and I'm like, what the fuck? And I just knew Alex was hanging out. This was literally Alex when he was like 1 or maybe 2. And again, I was just like, well, thanks, kid. I found it. And then I named my band Lost Drumstick. That was the name of the band that I played in Rock Band. I was like, that made a good story. Name a band Lost Drumstick. But no, like that's a similar thing where like, yeah, you're so pumped. I had a similar situation with PlayStation. Because when I grew up, we didn't have awesome TVs. We had shitty TVs. So I didn't have the red, white, yellow. I had the RF.
Yeah.
And PlayStation didn't come with RF. It came with fucking red, white, yellow. And I was like, that and the memory card situation.
Oh, yeah.
I was stupid. And I just didn't know you needed a memory card. And I was like, why are my games not saving? Then I find out, I'm like, oh, there's a disc. You can't fucking write information to it. You got to have a memory card.
Yep.
So that's, like kind of a similar disappointment, brand new thing. And you're like, oh, I can't. Oh, by the way, have fun telling your parents you can't play the new thing that they just spent $300 on. Have fun telling them
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
I'm sure they're going to be real happy being nickeled and dimed over this.
Oh my God, when Christmas, the day after Christmas, guess where we have to go, Mom? Walmart
Yeah.
or something. And they're like, are you fucking kidding me? I don't want to go to the store the day after
Yeah.
Christmas. Are you crazy? So yeah, those are fun conversations you get to have with your parents after being
Yep.
saddened by your Christmas present that they just spent all their hard money on. So yeah, like real fun times.
Yep.
So we got you back into it. Did you have like the party? Well, because like you said, you were at the firehouse and stuff like that. Did you bring it over there? Was that like that kind of aspect, or was it mostly just like family coming
Occasionally.
over?
Yeah, it was friends coming to the house and stuff like that. But like not gamers, just random people.
Because you're right. Anybody could play the Wii. And that was like the cool part is like, how do I play tennis? How do you fucking play tennis in real life, Grandma? Do that.
Right.
Like, that's all you gotta do.
Allegedly, I knew someone that could make the Wii capable of playing burnt discs as well.
Hey, let's go. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, like I bought a Wii first, and let's just say like I people who have listened to the podcast have probably already heard this. I think you might know the story, the I Hate Mitch Power story. Do you know about that?
Yeah.
Long story short, I bought a Wii instead of a 360. I pissed off one of my best friends at the time. He made his gamer tag I Hate Mitch Power. To this day, his gamer tag is still I Hate Mitch Power. I've offered to pay him to change it. He refuses because instead of buying a 360, I bought a Wii first, which was a stupid mistake on my end. Just saying. I later bought a 360 and was like, this is the console I actually wanted. But you know why? You know why I bought a Wii first? Because my wife loved WarioWare. That's the whole fucking reason.
That's fair. You did the right thing.
That game fucking slapped, by the way. That game was great.
Oh, yeah.
Like, WarioWare games are stupid fun.
The new one that just came out on Switch is very much like Smooth Moves.
I haven't played it. I should.
Yeah.
I try not to tell my wife.
We played it Extra Life if you come.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It released last year at Extra Life, so.
Oh, nice. Like, those are the games that sometimes I like neglect to tell Jen about because I'm like, I don't want to be hearing, do you want to play WarioWare all day?
Oh, come on. It'll be fun.
Stop. No, it will. I'll do it eventually. Okay. You know what it is? I just usually wait until like Christmas time. Same thing with Mario Party. Like, I'll get her the Mario parties for Christmas and she'll like them and then we'll play and she'll either be really happy because she wins or really fucking pissed that she loses. And then we kind of feel.
Yeah.
I think we get to that point where we play until she starts to lose and she's like, man, fuck this. I don't want to play. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Although I did play some Mario Party with Addie yesterday. It was 9:30 at night. She's like, do you want to play Mario Party? I'm like, I'll play the mini games. I'm not fucking playing a whole game of Mario Party right now. That shit'll take an hour. I'm like, I'm not doing that. So it's a fun game though when you got time. Although that game is bullshit with those bonus stars.
Yeah,
fuck you, Mario Party. It's game of chance. Yep. I have the least number of coins. That's why I get a star. Fuck you. That sucks. That's so stupid, Nintendo. Don't do that. I wish. Is there an option to turn those damn things off?
I don't know.
If there is, do it. Like, don't play that shit and have those bonus stars. They will. The best person always gets like, all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute. I was in lead by like 2 stars. Now I don't know if I'm going to win or not. It's bullshit. I've had plenty of times where I've gotten to that end screen and been like, I'm going to win this. And then just boom, 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 fucking somebody else wins. I'm like, this game sucks. Don't want to play this game. So with the Wii, was it mostly just the party games that you had then? Like the Wii Sports Carnival games, like that stuff. Did you ever you had Mario Galaxy you had mentioned. Did you ever get like Mario Kart, Mario Party, Metroid? Did you ever play anything else like that on the Wii really?
I think I had Mario Kart. I've never been into Mario Party. I just never had it. Yeah. I don't know why.
Extra Life game. Again, those are games that are fun. And it's like a game that's like accessible for any age. So that's cool too. As long as you can shut off those bonus stars. Fucking bonus stars suck. And then did you actually go Wii U?
No, I didn't.
Good.
So like the Wii came out 2006-ish?
Yes.
That sounds right.
Around
it was sometime after. Yeah. My husband and I started dating in 2010. And I remember having him over to the house and playing Wii bowling because he was big into bowling.
Nice.
Had like a little end table sitting there with our drinks on it. and he smacked into that thing playing bowling. My red Kool-Aid went flying all over the carpet.
Of course. Red Kool-Aid.
Red Kool-Aid, that's the only way.
Oh my God. That's terrible.
I still married him, so, you know.
Well, that's good. You got over it.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Must be all right.
Yeah.
I still remember it. It's burned into my brain.
It's awesome. Like, you know, I hope you're not one of those people that, like, in a fight, like, you guys have an argument or something. He's like, yeah, you remember that time you spilled that red Kool-Aid all over my goddamn carpet? Yeah, just bring up old shit. It's like traumatic. Never gonna forget it ever. Oh fuck. Yeah. Like, no. So
that's like, I was really, for the most part, out of gaming at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Wii kind of brought it back for a while. That was fun. Did the whole party type of stuff, but I was still doing fire department stuff and just busy. And then I started dating him. Yeah, doing grown-up things, I guess. Not fun.
Being an adult with a mortgage and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
then like,
what kickstarted it even more then?
Well, so to get into that, like when you're still early in a relationship and enjoy spending time together, you know, we're watching TV together, just generally being together.
Right.
And I didn't want to go to another room to play a video game, right?
Right.
So what's the best solution here? It's the Switch.
Nice.
So I saw the Switch come out, and it came out in the spring, and it was early that fall, that I decided to start looking for one to get. I'm like, I could sit in the living room. You can keep watching whatever on TV, the NASCAR race, and we can be together and still talking to each other.
Right.
But I can play games.
Nice.
So that's where it started. Then it went all downhill from there.
And then everything went downhill. It was funny. I had, at that time, I eventually what got me back into gaming is I started working at a video game store, and that kickstarted everything, right? So like the whole PS2 360 or PS2 Xbox GameCube era, I jumped in like 4 years into everything, and I went full tilt. I got everything. And the cool thing is when you jump into a game console late in its life cycle, all this awesome shit's already out for it. So you already have, you don't have to wait for shit. You just play all these cool things that have happened over the last 3-4 years. So I was full tilt back into it. I ended up getting a Wii U through my work, has like this point system you can redeem, because I was never in my fucking life going to give Nintendo actual money I earned for a goddamn Wii U. But I got a Wii U through this point thing through work. Mario Kart was awesome. Smash was awesome. Like, these games were cool. The best thing I will tell you about Nintendo shit, they hold their value so fucking well, because Switch came out and I literally went, I could trade in through Amazon. I traded in all my Wii U shit, and I got a Switch, it's like 2 games, something like that, right off the rip. I got like Mario Kart, I got Zelda, and I was just like, God damn, this console's so much better. Like, this is what the Wii U was trying to be. And like I played the shit out of Zelda. I was just like, this is fucking awesome. However, I'm the opposite of you, where I barely play that bitch in handheld. Barely. Like, it's cool, like it has good games, but like, I have that thing docked all the time, unless I'm traveling. But I don't travel that often. So it's not like I take like 4-hour plane trips or 10-hour bus ride or train rides or any weird shit like that. Like, I'm also too, I'm in dad mode when I travel, right? So I'm like making sure my kids fucking are around. They don't walk off. They're getting on the plane. So I'm in dad mode when I'm traveling as well. So very rarely do I get a chance to even sit on a plane without one of my fucking kids going, can I get this, and this? Because I have a backpack that has everything. Dad, I need a charger. I need a battery. Dad, my iPad. Oh, fuck. Jeez. Like, so I don't really get to play it portably that often. But there are still some solid games on it, even though I do shit talk it on the Xbox Drive, which I still think for valid reasons I can shit talk it. But it is, like I said, for it being a portable console, for it being as good as it is, it was definitely a predecessor for like Steam Deck and like showing you that portable gaming is possible, but now with much higher fidelity. So Switch 2, get your fucking shit together, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Please.
I have to say, when I got my Switch, I kind of like struck out on games.
Oh, really?
I didn't do too great at picking out games. Well, first, I was never a Zelda person. Like, I'd never played any of the Zelda games. Like, I was a Mario kid.
Right.
So Breath of the Wild existing didn't do anything for me. Like I
Right.
didn't even know how different it was
Right.
to even think about being interested. So I got like Mario and Rabbids,
Mhm.
which was not the Mario game I wanted it to be.
No, what was it? A strategy game? Yeah,
Yeah.
completely different. Right.
I got Splatoon 2, and like I didn't know you could turn off the motion control, and it starts with it on.
Right.
So that didn't last very long.
Bro,
It was a
I
rough go at the beginning, but like by the time I bought it, I think we had the release date for Mario Odyssey. Like we knew it was coming soon.
right.
That's why I started looking for them. I'm like, all right, I know I want that.
Right.
So I
Mario
think I
Odyssey
also
is awesome
got
too.
Mario Kart was probably the best.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is top tier. Like it's literally the best Mario Kart ever, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's the best. It's so good. And by the way, that shit was on Wii U, and it had no business being that good. Like it was such a good game, and I'm just like, that was the saddest thing I was like getting rid of with the Wii U. I was like, fuck, man, I gotta get rid of. And then they were like, nope, here's the game with all the
Nope.
DLC, better look. I'm like, let's go.
Buy it
Yeah.
again, buddy.
Buy it again. Yeah, exactly. Buy it again. But it sounds stupid, but when it comes to Nintendo shit, I seem to not have a fucking problem doing it. Maybe because they've conditioned me like,
They have.
you're just gonna buy it again, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. Like, I guess. I guess I will. We're gonna have a Mario collection come out, 3D All Stars. You're gonna buy it, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I am. Real talk though, I don't. So I bought that game. I think it's still sealed. I really do. I don't think I opened it, but I think it's actually worth like a decent amount of money sealed because they stopped making that physical
Yeah,
card.
because they quit making it for
Yeah,
God knows what reason.
because
That was so
fucking
dumb.
Nintendo doesn't understand how money works. I don't get it. I just don't. Nintendo. My brother-in-law said a term, and I laughed so fucking hard. He goes, "Man, Nintendo likes to make every amiibo eBay exclusive," and I'm like, not Amazon exclusive, not GameStop exclusive, fucking eBay exclusive. And I'm like, you're right. Every special edition they do, they make 12. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They make 13 of them bitches and have the whole internet and world fight over them. And I'm just so sick and tired of how Nintendo
I just want to
does that
watch
shit.
the world burn.
And I'm just like, hey, Nintendo, check this. Y'all make more of these. Y'all get the money and not Frank on eBay, right? Like, come on, dude. There's parts of my fucking brain that don't make sense. But that part does, and I don't understand why it doesn't make sense in Nintendo's brain. But yeah, it's just weird. I don't get it.
So by the time that Mario Odyssey came out, of course I bought that day one.
Sure.
And I convinced my husband that I should be able to play that on the big TV.
Hey.
At least for a while, right?
Right.
So I was doing that, and then I thought to myself, I have like a little 20-inch TV down in the basement not being used. Why don't I just play on that instead of handheld?
Right. Exactly.
So I get a little table set up right beside my seat in the living room and put that little TV on there, started playing. Like, all right, this is better. I like it. Then I went and bought myself Skyrim, which I'd never played because I didn't have anything you could play it on, right? Played that, and then it's like my mind was opened to all of the worlds of possibilities, right? Like, all right, I got to get something else. I need a PlayStation or an Xbox. I have to do it. And then I'm like debating back and forth. Which one do I get?
Right. Oh, you play the console wars in your head. Like, which one?
I played the whole console wars in my head.
Yeah.
So I finally ended up buying a PlayStation 4 Slim because it was late into the cycle by the time I got it. And then I had that same setup. So now I had the little table with my PlayStation on it with the TV on top of that. And I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
Nice. What's funny is you mentioned the TV setup. When my wife and I were, before we had kids, we had an apartment together. And it was a similar thing, except for she had a TV here. And I had, remember that projection TV I was telling you about from my grandma? She gave that to me when I got my apartment because she got a better one. Nice. And I had that bitch side by side. She had this little like 27-inch TV and I had this 50-inch projector that we were both playing on. Yeah, that was how it was, like, for sure. So your first experience playing Skyrim was on Switch?
Yep.
Ew.
How wild is that?
Ew, God. It looks so much fucking better on almost anything else that's not a Switch.
Wow. The Switch is what I had.
I know. That's just so crazy. So did you play Skyrim on like another console and go, what the fuck? Like, why does it look like so much better? Did you ever try it on another console?
I think eventually I played a little bit on Xbox, like after it came to Game Pass, right?
Right. Like, you're playing it and you're probably just like, what?
Yeah.
I have a feeling Skyrim on Switch ran at like 12 frames a second and probably was like 240p or something. But again, it's crazy though, because again, it's all perspective.
Because like I hadn't seen everything, right?
It's all perspective. Yeah. What you knew at the time was like, this was just the fact that they get that game running on Switch is, in my opinion, a fucking technological feat, and whoever did that, good for you guys. But yeah, like again, it's all perspective. You didn't know this other shit existed, and then you played this, and you're like, "What the fuck?" And then you start expanding, and then so you went PlayStation, PS4, Slim.
Yep.
I had OG, the original PS4. I was always one of those like, I preferred Xbox, obviously. I preferred Xbox, but I never not. Ever since I worked at the game store, I had everything because like as a gamer, I felt like you couldn't not have all the consoles to experience all the great games. Like you can't, if somebody's like, dude, fuck PlayStation. Like, dude, do you not realize the good shit you're missing on PlayStation? Like, you have no fucking idea. Same thing, Xbox, Switch. You could say that about all of it. If you say fuck this console, you don't realize like there are, even though you might not like a majority of the games, there's at least like a handful on each console that are exclusive to that console that are like, holy shit, this is amazing. Not as much now because shit's on PC. Just saying. Yeah. But to say like fuck that whole console, like people are like fuck PlayStation 4. Like, are you talking about God of War and Last of Us and Last of Us 2? Are you telling me fuck that console because those games are all amazing? What are you talking about right now? So those are the things that like I've never been like that. But when it comes to PlayStation, I get like the base model. I never get the Pro. I never get the upgraded one, and it just plays shit fine. Like PS5 Pro, rumored heavy as fuck. When it comes out, will I get it? No. I'm good.
It depends. Is it going to make Death Stranding 2 look even more amazing? Then maybe.
Unless Spider-Man 3 is exclusive to it.
I'm just being real.
I'm just being real with you. Unless Spider-Man 3 is exclusive to it, that's the only reason I'm getting fucking upgrade. That's it.
If they tell me that I need the PS5 Pro for Death Stranding 2 to look the best, I'm going to buy it.
That's how I am with Xbox. Any new Xbox that comes out, though, but my head, Xbox comes out without fucking question. That thing's getting upgraded instantly. Like, it does not matter to me. Again, they can come out with some other, if there's a better Series X tomorrow, I'll pre-order it. I don't give a shit. I'll buy it. So, but like I said, Switch, same thing. I have just the regular Switch. I never thought the OLED was worth it for me just because I don't play in handheld, right? I've seen the handheld OLED.
Because why not?
The OLED handheld, though, is beautiful. It like I saw
it makes a Steam Deck look like crap.
Until the OLED Steam Deck, though.
Well, I don't have that.
Yeah.
I just have the OG Steam Deck.
Right. But like I said, that's like, OLED. When you see an OLED compared to a normal LCD, you're like, fuck, this looks way better. Holy shit.
That's crispy.
It's super crispy. Love it. And then obviously now you're into fucking everything.
Yeah, so I got the Xbox One S like a year before the new generation came out.
The series came out? Okay.
A friend of mine wore me down on the whole concept of Game Pass. Then there was a good Black Friday deal. So I think my Xbox came with Jedi Fallen Order.
Hell yeah. That game is...
But that's like all I played on it because I was still like catching up on PS4 stuff and it's kind of worked out that way. But then so I got the Series X and the PS5 digital at launch. And then I got a TV stand.
To actually store all this stuff?
No, I put a 42-inch TV, so it's like a stand on wheels and stuff, and I had like all my consoles on that.
You had a rolling stand that had your TV shit?
A rolling cart.
That's fucking awesome.
It's actually sitting right beside me in the office now because I don't need it.
It's just like...
But that way, like, if company came over, we could hide the extra TV.
That's so fucking cool. I didn't even think about the rolling stand.
That's like right in front of my recliner. Wheel that bad boy over.
That is awesome. Like a rolling cart of entertainment. It's like, and I imagine though they have squeaky wheels. That's how every time I think of school rolling carts, they all had squeaky wheels. That's all I think about. If you have a rolling cart for a TV, it's like, all right, put you here. That's fucking cool. That's awesome. So now, then, you got a full setup next to your husband's TV now, basically.
So our main TV in the living room was dying. Like, all right, we need to buy a new TV. I'm like trying to plant the seeds. Like, we could just get two. Then I
Yeah.
wouldn't have this cart that I have to wheel around all the time.
Right.
So I
Duh,
wore them down, and now we have like stacked TVs in the living room.
stacked. So like
Yeah.
Sean's setup is side by side, which is crazy. You have to have so
Yeah.
much
We
fucking
didn't have
real estate in the room to do that. Like,
Yeah, we
that's
didn't have
nuts.
the width on the wall where the TV is. We
Right.
actually considered it. We were going to rearrange the whole living room, but no other setup works.
Right.
So we had to go stacked. So now,
Stack's not
well,
bad.
fortunately, like we each have recliners. My TV is the top one. One, it's on a mounting bracket, so it's like angled downwards,
Nice.
and then I recline, so it's not like I'm not looking like this,
Right.
like hurting my neck or anything.
Right.
When
Oh,
I'm
that's awesome.
reclined, comfortable in the chair, I'm looking straight at it.
That's so awesome. That's like, that's the setup, man. Like I get jealous. Like, I mean, my setup in here is nuts. You know, it's like the only thing that bums me out. I have a really nice monitor in front of me, 4K, 240 hertz, Samsung, like QL, awesome TV. But I have an LG OLED right there that I barely use. That when my daughter, so like I have it set up to where I can play all my consoles here, and then I have it now like a separate HDMI matrix to where my daughter can play a separate console on that TV, right? So she
Yeah.
can play PlayStation, I can play Xbox here, everything's cool. I'll see her play like Spider-Man 2 on this OLED, and I just fucking go, I wish this
That's
monitor
the
was
life.
it's so good look. Oh my God. It's so
Yep.
fucking pretty. I always forget it. I turn on a game over here and I'm just like, God damn it, that TV is great looking. Yeah, OLEDs are always the better option. And now they have, ever since CES this year, of course, now they have 4K OLED, 240 hertz gaming monitors. Because why
Yeah.
wouldn't they? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean, you could need a second mortgage for it, I'm sure.
And it's like $1,200, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny that, like, if I were to get a 4K 120 hertz fucking TV, it would have cost less than this monitor. But
Yep.
this 32-inch curved monitor right in front of me costs more than a 65-inch OLED that has the same capabilities, which doesn't make any fucking sense. But here's my stupid ass fucking buying the monitor anyways, right?
Looking at
Like,
that tiny little screen.
but it's so good. It's like right here. It's like perfect. Although I got like
Yeah,
I got a lot right here. It's like
Yeah.
yeah.
you get a lot of real estate.
I showed people and they're like, "What's wrong with you?" I remember like what's funnier is when I see my buddy Buzz. I went to his house, and he has the 55-inch solid curve, the one giant curve monitor, and it's almost funnier because you walk in and it's just fucking monitor that's like as wide as your arms. Like, what is this in front of you? I just walk in and I started laughing, and I'm like, Buzz, what have I told you that the stuff at my house is wider than this? He's like, shut
Yeah.
the fuck up. He's like, how do you see the edges of the monitor? And I tell him I do this.
Yeah.
Because my periffs can't catch the edges of these
Yep.
monitors the way they are. But you know, this the setup I have, it's fun.
But I'm still in the mindset like I want to be in the living room with my husband.
Of course. Right.
So whether
Yeah.
he's watching TV or he's playing Animal Crossing, whatever it is,
So
we're still there and can talk to each other.
right. And obviously, so now you were playing Wii bowling with him, but now he is, I assume he's not as big of a gamer as into gaming as you are, but obviously he has his games that he plays as well then.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
So now he mostly plays Animal Crossing, Suika game, pinball, stuff like that.
Nice.
But like before we met, he was playing Diablo 2 on PC.
Nice.
He won't play Diablo 4 with me on Xbox.
Why?
He's like, I don't know. It won't make sense to me on a controller.
Have him do crossplay. Shit's crossplay. Get him on your computer
Well,
in there.
He doesn't have a PC. He'd have to play on mine.
Oh. God forbid that ain't happening. Bowser's like, don't touch my shit.
We could, but
I was gonna say, I bet you just make him a profile. It's fine. He doesn't
but I
have to touch
bought
your
him a
shit.
Series S so he could play all the Game Pass games.
Do they have KBM support on you might want to look at that.
Ooh,
They might
he
have
might have just
KBM.
won.
Ooh, check that. They might have KBM on console. Just saying. I don't know yet. I don't know. Some gaming natively support
I
it.
mean, I have a keyboard I plug into my controller to play Final Fantasy 14. So
Right. Do you have so you have like a separate USB keyboard that's like just separate on the side sitting there kind of while you're playing, or is it the one that
no,
attaches to the bottom of it?
it's the bottom of the controller thing.
But you still have that USB dongle, right? Because we had that discussion on the
Yeah.
Xbox Drive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I still have the original when Microsoft actually put it out and people were like,
Yeah.
oh my God, we want it. And then it came out and there was like, well, we don't want to buy it though. Like, you fuckers. Like, what'd you ask for it then? So yeah, that's always fun. But yeah, I mean, like I said, now obviously your habits, you're playing all the time.
Everything.
I
got all of the things.
I fucking look at Discord and you're playing a new game, it seems like every fucking hour. Like,
well, right now it's because I can't figure out what I want to play.
Got it.
I don't know.
I mean, we got through Hellblade 2.
Okay, so I did. Right. I was waiting how long for Hellblade 2 and then played it 2 nights, and now I'm back to what do I play?
I got you. Well, like I said, I mean, maybe see if keyboard and mouse support's on console for Diablo and see if you guys can.
I did just fire that up the other day because like it's a new season or something.
Right.
I didn't get very far.
You know what's crazy, and it sucks because like my wife's very much in Diablo, so like she was the one who played. She didn't play a lot of games growing up, but her brother obviously played the shit out of games, and he you know, whatever. They had a PC at the house. She played Diablo 2 on PC, and that was the game she played. Diablo 3 came out on Xbox, and we played the fuck out of it. Like, lots of 3 a.m. nights. She was the one saying, I'm not going to bed. You can go to bed if you want to. Like, she was doing that shit, right? She's like, hey, you can fuck off. I'm still awake trying to play this. And I'm like, hey, babe, I have to work tomorrow morning. Like, I got shit I got to do. And she's like, cool, go. I'm still playing. So Diablo 4 came out, and she was very much into it. And then she's, again, it sucks for her because if she gets busy, and then it's like, I really want to play this, but I have this and this to do. And I just tell her, like, you need to shut that fucking part of your brain off sometimes and just sit and play and veg for fucking 8 hours. Because when she plays, she like, it's gone. Like, you can't discuss shit with her. She's just like.
That's why on the weekends, like, I got to do my chores first thing in the morning.
Right. Or else they
like whatever it is. Like, I got to take care of the cat, do the litter box, and clean her fountain, and do whatever else needs to be done around the house. Because if I'm really into a game, once I turn that game on, game over to all responsibilities. I'm over.
I mean, you've seen my Saturday streams.
Yeah.
10 to 12 hours. I'm not fucking stopping. Buzz is still on playing COD. Let's fucking go, bro. I ain't stopping. A new season of Apex just came out. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck that. And then the favorite part is Jen will come home and be like, so what'd you do today? I'm like 12 hours of video games. What do you do today? She goes, oh, I fucking worked. That's cool. Yeah. So you didn't do shit, right? I'm like, yeah, no, I didn't do anything. So yeah, those conversations get fun. But no, like I said, she thankfully, the only thing I will say is like I have my own space in here. She has her own space in there. But like I said, typically when she comes home, that's my hard cutoff, right? That's when I'm like, cool, you're home. We're done. She keeps saying she wants to play games, but like I said, I'll be like, cool, what do you want to play? I don't know, let me think about it. And then she goes and fucking cleans the pantry or some shit. Okay. I guess we're not playing games today. But yeah. As far as it goes, like I said, you're playing tons of stuff now. You're even on like podcasts with games too. It's kind of crazy. Like that you're I mean, you look at this.
How'd I end up here?
I don't know.
Yeah. If you would go back to like 2017 when I bought my Switch, I didn't even know podcasts were, well, maybe I did know podcasts were a thing.
Right. Would you imagine to be on a podcast like this talking for 2 hours about your history?
No, because I didn't know gaming podcasts were a thing. Because that wasn't like in my purview. I might have listened to like Serial.
Right. It's funny. I think IGN literally made me listen to podcasts because I was on IGN's site all the time. And then they just kept talking about podcasts. And I'm like, what the fuck's a podcast? And then I found out and then I became obsessed with them. Until I became
obsessed with it. Took me a while to like even consider that gaming podcasts might be a thing. Like even once I got back into it, I don't know, didn't really cross my mind, but eventually that clicked. I started following some gaming podcasts, and then that's where like someone said, hey, I record this Wednesday at 5:00 Eastern on Twitch. I'm like, what's a Twitch? I don't know. But I went there, and then they're like, join the Discord. I'm like, I've heard of Discord, but I don't know how to do this. Whatever. Jump in.
So how did you end up finding Carpool?
I was in another gaming Discord, And I remember somebody talking about when they were fundraising for Bobby.
Oh, got it. Got it.
And then I started watching their stuff, like went to the charity stream and all
Nice.
that.
Good stuff.
And I kind of fell in for the Xbox Drive.
Yeah.
So I had like a Nintendo podcast that I listened to, but I wanted more Xbox info. Like, well, I need one of those, so off I go. Found Sean and Ryan, and the rest is history.
Sean literally told me for years, he's just like, I want to do a podcast with you. I'm like, okay, just fucking say the word, dude. Like, I won't tell you no, Sean. You know that. And it was just, he was too busy hanging out with other people.
Yeah, I know.
That's as much as I'll say. Other people. But no, like, yeah, as soon as he asked me, I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I should have told him, though. I should have told him to go fuck himself.
You should
have. Just for taking for so long. Be like, nah, Sean, you took too long. I'm going to do my own. Call it the PlayStation lane or Xbox lane. Just piss you off. That's all I wanted to do. Say no, Sean. Sean, you're good people. I bought your merch at full price. Remember that? I'm a host of the show, and I accidentally bought it for full price. You're fucking welcome, Sean, for that fund that's going to go help get people to Extra Life. Probably won't be me, though, because I'll probably have something to do and I can't go.
Thanks, Mitch.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Bowsah. Hopefully, it helps get you there. Absolutely. As far as it goes, if you want to check you out anywhere on the internet, I mean, we've done it every week on the Xbox Drive, but not here to this audience, Bowsah. If you want to see you on the internet, where would they find you?
You can find me on X at Bowsah13 or Xbox or PlayStation. I don't have my Switch code off the top of my head. Sorry. You can't have that. But yeah, I'm in Mitch's Discord. Say hello. I'm usually hanging out in his streams.
It's very true. I will say Bowsah, when we first got together, because I didn't know Bowsah before the Xbox Drive at all. I knew Fee because we did a podcast that we both forgot we did, but that's besides the point. Which you can go listen to. It's on the feed right now. You can just go listen to it if you want. But no, I met Bowsah and she's awesome. She's been hanging out ever since we met, and she's consistently there, and she's an awesome co-host on the Xbox Drive, and we have a blast there. So if you guys are listening to this and you guys don't know about that, make sure you guys go check that out too. I'll have a link for that here because I'm going to put everything that Bowsah has in the promotion for the stream notes and or the channel notes description. Fuck it, go subscribe there while you're here as well. So
yeah, do it.
Absolutely, do all of the above. Bowsah, thank you so much for being on my show. I greatly appreciate you sharing your stories with me.
Yeah, thanks. It's been a good time reminiscing about the good old days.
The good old days that only me and you remember because we're both old as fuck. Somebody's first console is a PS2. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much, Bowsah, for being on the show. If you guys want to check her out on everything, it is at Bowsah_13. I will have a link in the show notes to catch her on everything on the internet. You can also find her and myself every Friday on the Xbox Drive over at youtube.com/carpoolgaming. Reminder, if anyone out there wants to be on the show, be sure to send me a tweet at GUG Podcast, reach out to me live on Discord, live on the stream at twitch.tv/MitchPower1116, or leave a comment on the YouTube video below. I'd love to hear more and more stories. And as always, like, subscribe, and leave a comment on your favorite part of the show. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it. I'll see you guys next month with another new episode. See ya.